Hola.
I can't hear Hola.
She just started recording.
Yeah, she's
Recording.
recording it. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Dad. Start answering the question. Say the question and then answer it.
Okay, this is the first question. Did you know Grandpa Lolo Manaia? Do you have memories of him? So please share. Okay. When I grew up, uh, I was staying with Grandpa Lolo and May and my mom. I don't know where my dad was at that time because I didn't see him a lot. Typical Mataele family, whatever. Anyway, and I grew up with them, and I would go back and forth with my Lolo and May, and then my mom's grandparents. But Lolo, this is the thing I remember about him more than anything. Before you come and eat, you have to do some kind of work. You got to perform the work at home or wherever, or go to the bush. Because when he goes to town, when he comes back to the house, the first thing he asks my grandma May, what did Tupouniua and Saya and Viola did today? In other words, he wants accountability. There's no such a thing as you just loaf around and you're going to stay in that house. No, even though we were young, but he expects us to learn something. You need to work. You need to work. You know, that's a scripture. I guess everybody knows that in order for us to earn anything, we need to work. So that's the thing he instilled in us. Even now, I mean, I still remember. I have to try to work every day, do something. Uh, and May's answer was always to fly me. Because to fly, ko tali ta tau ai pe. To fly me. Ko jahat tali ke he a ke a. That's all we did anyway. And uh, and the next question they asked me is, how about Grandma Lolohea? Did you know her well? Any memories of her? Yeah, Lolohea and Eleanor. That's Atu's sister. Eleanor was raised by Grandma Lolohea, and 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 she was very attached to Grandma Lolohea, and Saya and Viola like to tease her. And then when we eat, they make sure whatever's left over from Grandma Lolohea doesn't eat, it's either Saya or Viola will eat the leftover depending on what Eleanor wants, Eleanor wants to give the food to. That's how it was. It was like you know, who is the favorite that day because Eleanor will give it to whoever she likes. If Saya or Viola does something wrong to her, she'll say no, I'll give it to the other guy. That's how it was with Laurel hair. One thing about Laurel hair, she is very, what's the word I'm going to use? What's the Tongan word I'm going to use? Maybe you'll understand. Kapag umay ko vidi tayo unua. Kono mo nibe. Pag time ni kono relationship mo grandpa mo lolo, Lolo used to tell her straight to Lolo hair. Lolo hair, when never take agua matale ko vidi unua. You know, that's the relationship between my grandpa Lolo and Lolo hair. But the thing is, Lolo hair like to stay with grandpa and grandma because I guess May was very loving a person. She's the type. My wife is referred to May as she'll go to heaven straight. In other words, okay, that's how the relationship. Tao ko e me ko alolo is just like what I mentioned. You know, you should treat your wife and your children. This is Irene said, like the way Heavenly Father treated you. And it's the same thing for you women. You should treat your husband and your children just like the way your Heavenly Father treated you. And that's what I learned about that. But Lolo is a business guy, always from the beginning. He goes to town, and I'll give you a funny story about how business he was. And he buys, they call them the finance broker, whatever you call them, because they have the money. They have cash. In Tonga, there's no such a thing called the bank get money from. No, you either have money or you don't get it. That's the way it is. So Grandpa would buy the produce from people from all over Tonga. They bring their produce to Nuku'alofa, and because their father Mataele has a big place for them to sell their produce, so he buys the stuff and then he sells it. He buys it wholesale, like a bit lower price than what people do. That's what you call a middleman. Never heard of that the word till I come to America and found out that's what Grandpa was. Grandpa was a middleman. He buys all the produce from the people and then he resell them. Okay, and I'll tell you the story that you'll never forget. My wife, father, my father-in-law, he's a farmer, so he grew crops, different kind of crops. So he had like 30 or 40 basket of kumara. So he brings him to town, and then my father-in-law told my wife, now you take care of the what's the produce, and I'll go and I'll come back. So what Grandpa did, Grandpa said, okay, he came and saw all this kumara. He said to my wife, "Oh, I'll give you 6 cents less." Like mana sinefa, tang you
Tell them
Grandpa.
how old she was. Tell them how old she was.
He was only like 12 or 13. And then my grandpa said, "I'll buy all of the produce, and I'll pay you 6 cents less." So the funny thing is, he did not take the produce. He just left it there because my wife would say, "Oh, na fao tangi no man, oh na sai no fao ko ya I kumaraya." So he did not take it. He just raised the price and sold it whilst my wife was sitting there, and then finished selling them. And when my father-in-law came and saw her, and I said, "What happened to the thing?" He said, "Oh, this guy was so good. What? He bought all of it." And he said, "How much?" "For 6 cents less." "Oh no." In other words, that's what my grandpa did, and he did it to my wife. And then my wife, this is what my wife said: "Your grandpa thought he had the last laugh. I have the last laugh because I married his grandson." Anyway, that's the business he ran. Of course, other things he did, and Andy Carlo knows about that, going and by he did bartering. I never heard of that word before. Did I found out that's what he did? In other words, he take oil, Tongan oil, Lolo Tonga from Tonga, go to Niue. You know where Niue is? They make real good handicraft. They're better than the way people did. So, and then from there he went to Fiji, and then in other words, he didn't buy the handicraft in Niue. He exchanged them. Then he went to Fiji and he sold those handicraft in Fiji because they're really, really good. And that's what. And then from there he buy whatever he thinks Tonga need, then he'll come back to Tonga. So he did import export, and also not only middlemen but also uh, bartering. In other words, trade goods only and not no money involved. Okay, that's what I know about Grandpa as far as business is concerned. Okay, the thing about his siblings, Grandpa, he had a brother that lived in Fou with us, Clomtony. He lived there. And the story was, I guess somebody was bullying Clomtony, and Mataele told him, "Go to Fou and stay there, because nobody can touch you because they're afraid of Grandpa." And that's true. Everybody in Fou, I'll tell you another story. In Fou, we had coats like 15, 20, 30, depending what time of the year. And those coats, guess where they stay? Ko fu mala ko fu na o fanga ko si no fu me ela me. Ko fa hu fu fanga ko si ko a lo mo me. Ko nga ko ya ko ka ta vele mai ka lo no lo ko fu. Ala a me fu siana ko. But that's the way he is. That's his personality. And I hear that he went to Vavao and play rugby when he was growing up, and he doesn't want to go score. He wants to hit somebody. Pakonelela ko lo ko kai ke to hata ko ke tu ai ko kai he foi bulu, then the two ko lo pa tatao. That's the kind of guy he was. He was whatever you want to call it. That's what I know about Grandpa. Uh, and his brother and his sisters. For your information, when I grew up, I didn't know till probably Tong high school time, like what uh, 12, 13, 14, that their mothers were different mothers. I thought they were all brothers because I never hear any of them, even my Lolo say anything, that they have different mother. No, they talk to each other like they're just one family, one father, one mother. Even though there are three mothers, they had children with Mataele. Uh, Grandpa Josiah Mataele, they want to know if yeah. When I first met Grandpa, he was, of course, at that time, of course, he had a store, and he had, I guess, a movie theater, but the theater was gone because I found out that it got burned when Maliniu's theater was next door to his store, and it burned out. So when I went to Tonga High School, my dad took me over to meet him, and told him he was kind of. My dad used to live with Josiah Mataele because his wife what's his name? Lolo, of course, got divorced, and then Paulina died. So when Paulina died, Lolo, Latu, and Tony, and Tulatai. Tulatai used to come back and forth, but Dad, my Latu stayed with Mataele. So we went over to his place. He wanted to tell Mataele he was so glad that I made the entrance exam to go to Tong High School. So he was so happy that he this family, there are two things they talk about. They talk about politics or business and religion. If for those of you who don't know, they like to talk about religion, you know, not all the time, but sometimes. But business and politics, they talk about it every day, every day, every day. That's what all they talk about. They don't waste their time talking about anything except how to run a business, what they should buy, what they should sell, what you buy, anything to do with business. They'll talk about it, or the kind of laws that they should have, and politics. That's what Matale is. And he says, oh, he talk about me and Saya and uh, and Viola staying to that. Yeah, we were staying when I grew up. We stayed at one time because my parents went on a mission to outer island. So at first I stayed with Hola, and Hola, she treated me like, I had never seen anything like that. Now, ofanga Hola I when I found out totally. I'll just tell you the truth because I saw it with my own eyes. And then I hear ni found out kabaya hanamwe because she liked the fact that I wanted to go to school, and I did pretty good in school. And she would wake up every morning and make food for me to eat before I go to Tong High School in their home in Tekiu. And as far as Toti and Teresa and Carlo, my aunties, Toti, when I made the entrance exam to go to high school, my parents was on a mission were missionaries in the island. I mean the village of Nakolo. Of course, at the time my dad didn't have a job because he was a branch president. So he sent me to Wavau to Toti, asked Toti to get me we have to wear a uniform. All of you know, go to high school, you have to uniform. So I went there 1956. Guess what? I got the misere when I was up there in Wavau. Correcto misere, 1956. And the funny thing is, we don't have any money, but watch what happened. We came to go to board the boat, how new, and I guess Felipe, that's Auntie's first cousin, Tamsi Aris, ko yan na engineer ko baka. So the purchaser said to her, "Where you guys going?" "Oh, we're gonna go see Williami because he has a guy in a fork every guy. I got the valet or kuna kume toto tutu o mea." So I came free on board. In other way, I didn't pay him though I was supposed to pay. But that's how Tonga is. What do you expect? If you know somebody, they'll take care of you. Anyway, that's how I came to go to Tonga High School. Kakume tocho wala ka to for sete ono ngake fetong tong wala. That's about it. Plus, when I came to Hawaii, kumena wale I go toti. Fight eri hape ya we bema toti ha. You do whatever you want to do. But that's anti toti. He's like that. He's just free as a lark, do whatever you want. Kaya nga tataw kita. Mako mena wala ego no fututi. But Auntie Carlo and Auntie Tessa, they're different. Because Tessa, she liked to give away the world. She'll give away. When I used to work for the airline, well, you better sit mahagwala time the airline. But Auntie Carlo, kung lakha ko alu kaya ako, fakataw ko wala alu kaya ako. Good thing I had a scholarship. Otherwise, she will probably end up paying for my tuition and room and board. So those are my aunties, my memories of all my aunties. Uh, what did your parents think it was important to go to town? Yeah, at one point, my final year at Tonga High School, I stayed with Hamed. I'm not Hamed. With Tulatai and Alisi, and those two, they're both first cousins to my dad. So there was, nothing wrong because they're both related to them. That's how I moved to Nukolov and stayed with them 1962, and I go work with them after school, to help. Of course, I didn't get paid. I just want to help when I was there because my grandpa told me you have to work before you can eat. That was the main thing. This Lolo's family. You gotta work. You gotta no matter what. Uh, Anybody has any question, you can ask me, and if I can remember something, I'll share whatever your question is. You guys, you don't have any question?
Dad, why don't you share like why don't you share some stories about like living in Hawaii and working with Auntie Kalo and stuff like that when you first got there?
Okay, when I first got there, of course, I went to at that time called CCH and had a full scholarship. So I came and worked at a restaurant because Malini got me a job to work there as a busboy. So Auntie Carlos said, "You gotta collect your money, take your money, so you can send to my parents, so they can go to New Zealand and be sealed for time and all eternity." So the first year I worked there, Auntie took my check and sent it to my dad, so they can go to New Zealand and to be sealed over there. And of course, I did that. Right?
Talk about like how like for dinner when you would eat with Lolo, like you and Saya, what was it like for you and Saya that you and versus how he would eat with the other kids?
Okay. When we were eating over there in Fau'i, of course, days, I was like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, those ages. And we have a kitchen and we have a dining room. Now I understand. Before that, I didn't know there's a difference, but now I know there's a difference. The kitchens where all the, I would say, low class stay and eat, but the dining room where Grandpa and me and Mentoring eat. Only three of us, or if somebody visit from the church, they'll eat there with Grandpa. And that's how it was. Me and Saya were the honor guests at that house all the time. And I don't think Teresa liked that idea, that she has to eat in the kitchen and me and Saya and Grandpa eat in the dining room. There's such a thing called dining room in Tonga, guys. I didn't know. Mm.
Someone wants to ask, can you share another story about Auntie Hola and like what she was
Oh,
like?
Auntie Hola. Auntie Hola was just like her dad. She likes to work hard, and she's very strict as far as you got to work. You don't think that you can just go and ever and come back and eat. No, you have to do something. And she, the story about her I remember the most was this. At the end of her life, I was 15 years old. 1961 is when Hola passed away. I was the secretary for the brands, and I remember writing the little history about her because we have to write history and send to the church every year. And I remember the year was September 16, 1961. At that time, Grandma and Grandpa Lolo and Mayor were in Niue. They were on a mission. That's when Auntie Hola died. So when the news came to them because of Hola passed away, I think Mayor, knowing she's a mother, wanted to come, but Lola said no. The Lord sent us here, so we're not going back. So that happened. That same thing happened to me when I was my wife on a mission in the Temple Missionary in Tonga. My sister wrote, no, she wrote a call. I think she called me, and she said, "Dad is going to go to the hospital, and I think the doctor said he might not make it." I told him what my grandpa said. At that time, I remember what Lolo did when he was on his mission. I said, "No, I can't come back because the Lord sent me here. And if you're dead," then the Spirit told me, "Tell him what I want." This is what I told my sister. Your dad will not pass away until I come back after my mission. That's how much faith I have in the fact that grandma, grandma set an example for us to follow. If the Lord call you on a mission, stay there. Don't come back because the Lord knows everything. So after I came back from my mission in March, then Dad passed away in September. Exactly what the Lord said. Tell your sister that your dad won't pass away until you get back, and that's what happened. That's what happened. May and Laura didn't come to the funeral. They stayed in Niue, at that time, and of course. But the thing is about how she came back because she married Motopuaka and Tupouniua being the chief of the Matapure of the EQ. The only two Matapure in Tonga that has land, Matopuaka and Lawaki. So when Hola married Matopuaka, she followed it. It's the Tongan custom. You follow your husband. So she did. She did what most people do when they get married. But toward the end of her life on Hola, I was 12, let me see, 19, yeah, about 12 years old. That time I was able to go with one of the missionaries and visit her. So at that time we visited Hola. And I guess at that time it really dawned on her that, she still had, know that the church was true, still had a testimony. And the thing is how the Lord set her up to come back. Some of the women from the Methodist church came and told and gave a story about Joseph Smith, how he was blah blah blah, bad things about Joseph Smith. That ended it. That's when Hola gave up. She said she chased him away, told him, "Don't ever come back here." From that time forward, Hola started paying her tithing. She just gave us tithing. She didn't go to church yet, but she gave us her tithing to pay. Then she went to Lihaona. At that time, if you've been away from the church, you have to get up in front of the people in Lihaona during some kind of meeting, and say you're sorry, and from there on, Hola went downhill. And of course, everybody who that didn't know, she had Faitama COVID, and she was so weak, and they had operated to take the baby, hoping they would save her life. Of course, it didn't, but she passed away. But I think the Lord see fit that she should she should come back. That's my opinion how Hola is. But Hola, in my mind, she's a very very loving person, and also she cares about other people, and especially on my behalf. She worried about me on my behalf. She always favored me, even though I don't know why, because I guess my dad. And another thing, my dad moved there because Tongan custom, you have to take care of your sister, whether they're married or not. That's why my dad moved to Tekiu and stayed there to try to help Paula, whatever she needed. Of course, she didn't need anything. She was okay because they were okay. They had a store, and Motobaga was policeman, so had a regular income. But yeah, that's what I know about her.
Okay, we have a question from Yuke. Yuke, you have a question? You have to unmute yourself.
Who?
UK.
Yuke.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I
I
can
hear
hear you.
you.
There you go. So, Uncle, first and foremost, thank you for taking the time to speak with us this evening. I know you're busy. The question that I have is: you living with Tulatai and Alisi.
Yeah.
What was your experience with my dad? And did you by chance get a chance to meet with my mom at that
Oh,
time?
I didn't know your mom at that time, but of course your dad. When I stayed with your parents, was of course Linda was the oldest,
Okay.
and then they were still going to elementary school, and then Sipu and Tiuke and Tisiola. I don't know if you know her or not. That's your auntie.
No.
And yeah, and Tisiola, and then he had Valu at the time, and Mata was just I think a baby. I'm not sure if Mother was there or not, but that's who I stayed with. And your dad, he likes to box, so he had a boxing clubs. So that's what we did besides you know running around and everything. And also because I understand English a little bit, not that much, he likes for me to go with them to the Falefaiva, Talieva. And when the movie would come on, I would translate to them in Tongan because that way they'll understand. So I got to a point where like I was a regular guy there every night. Same movie, same movie. I go there every night. So one of the projector guy, the guy who ran the thing, the machine. This is 1962. I was 16, so he told him, since you bring Tupouniua to here every night, let him come and run the projector. So he taught me how to run the projector. For the people didn't know I was 16 running the thing for the people at that time. No, 61. Oh yeah, 61, 62 I was in there. So 15, I was 15. So that's how your dad is. He like to go watch movie all the time, and he wants me to go with him because yeah, this is now Fau. He was the projector, and he taught me how to run it. So I was really good at running the project for them, and I liked it because something different from what they had. And your dad, and he liked to box, but not with me. He boxed with his same group. age group, the boxer's age group. And Tiuke, he was okay, but we call him Enge. We didn't call him Tiuke, we call him Enge. Because why? He didn't have any front teeth most of the time of them. Yeah. And then I would help them with their homework. Of course, Alicia always tell me to help them with their homework if they needed it, but they were okay. Your dad was okay. At that time, of course, he was.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
The only thing is, your grandma, Soko, she liked to hoard the food. So when grandma Alicia comes, she always asks me, "Yon, kukekai kita iyo." But sometimes Soko would hide the food because I don't know why, but she would hide the food. Guess what? She all go and of hi I go padeo for have to me and Soko would get mad. That's what happened when I stayed with Alicia and them.
Thank
And every night they practice playing music. And I know that song that Alicia composed. What's the name of the song? About Joe. There's a thing about Joe. Yeah, about that. Anyway, she composed the song, and the guy in LA he was the steel guitar player. But every night they like to play, and Hameti would come there and practice with them on the loo. I mean on the um, what's on the loo? 12 would come there and preach. So those people, they like to sing. They like to, sing. So Hamedi would come there and sing with them on the road. I mean, uh, 12 would come there because they all like to sing. And I think, what's her name? Isis sister. Not Isis, but Tofino Vicky. Yeah, and Lovely so once in a while will come and sing. And I like the way they sing. They're really, really, really good singing.
you.
That's
Thank
why
you so much for sharing.
that's how your dad liked to play music. But certainly growing up with your grandparents, that's all they did every night. They would play music.
Amazing. Thank you.
Brother, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I want to see if I can clarify something because there's a book by Eric Shumway, Tongue and Sing's Legacy of Faith, where he talked about the faith of men in Lolo, and they talked about Hola passing away and what it did for them. But they were talking about that they were in New Tapu, but you had mentioned they were in New Way. Can,
For sure. I think it was New Way, but I could be wrong.
Oh, they were newer.
Yeah, see,
Tapu.
in Newer,
Yeah, because when I was on my mission in New Tapu, a lot of the old folks there remembered them, and
oh,
that
that's it. Then. So it's Newer to
yeah,
Tap then. I wasn't
yeah,
clear then. Yeah,
yeah, and
you're
they
right.
started a cricket
Team.
thing over there that they still talk about when I was there, of how Grandpa Lolo was a great cricket player in the Nilto Tapu. And he started some kind of a league or some kind of competition with the other islands or what have you while they were there.
And
But
if
yeah, I
you,
just wanted to clarify that.
oh yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I thought when you were, but I guess you're right. It's Newer to Tap then. Yeah.
Are there any other questions on that list, Dad? The Lucha said?
I think wanted to talk about Lolo's grandpa's relationship with his brothers, and I told you, they I never see them with any problem as far as their relationship. They like in Nucalofa, they have Hameti and Lolo and Inoke and Loma. This is what they talk about when they're over there. Besides the business, what they're gonna eat for lunch. Those guys, they like to eat good food, and like of course they work hard, and they like to eat good food all the time. Those
Great.
guys.
Love that.
Yeah, yeah. And Joe at that time he was a member of the parliament. So Joe and Hameti and and Loma they would argue about what Joe should propose in the parliament. That like I say, they talk about business and politics, and on Sunday they talk about religion. That's what those all the things that they talk about when they get together. So the brothers, Hameti and Lolo and Loma and and Inoke, Uh,
Read the question out loud.
I already did that. It says, why did your parents think it was important to go down and attend Tong High School? I just mentioned it because my parents, my dad related to both Grandpa Joe and Auntie Alice. Yeah, when I was in Tong High School.
But why they think it was important for you to go there,
What?
to go to Tong High School?
Oh, the reason why my parents wanted me to go to high school because I was kind of lazy growing up. I didn't want to do anything, you know. And they know if I go to Liahona, I would probably run away because I don't like to work over there. If I go to, because over there they make you go to the bush and work over there. I mean, real work in a plantation. They knew that that would happen if I go. I would probably run away from school. So because I was young, when I was 9 years old, I passed the exam to go to Liahona. My dad said, "No, you're not going to Liahona." So I waited till I was 10 and then passed the exam to Tong High School. That's why I went to Tong High School because that's the only place you don't have to work. You just go to school and go home. At close Tolol, I tell you, you have to go to the bush. You have to go work there in the plantation. Not this guy. I wasn't gonna go there, and my dad knew that. So he decided he's gonna go to the high school or else he won't make it. And that's what happened. That's why I went there. That's why I went to town because my dad said, "Go stay with." He was tired because we had a bicycle lorry. Yeah? Every morning when I was still in Tegi going to Tong High School, I'll tell you, my auntie, my mom's sister, would carry me to the bus. That's how lazy. That's how I like to sleep. So my dad said, "Well, you go stay with Joe and Alice, so that way you can sleep an extra hour and still go to school on time." So that's the main reason why I went to stay with Alice and them. Salute Okitawa. Everyone didn't know my grandpa Hamid. Right?
The next, read it out loud.
Oh, okay. This is what Grandpa Hamidi told me one time. He said, you know, uh, I don't know what's here or in Tong. I forgot, but he said, Mataele told him this about business. He said, you know, you can do any business, run any business, but don't forget the food business because people eat 3 times a day. You know, that's the thing about food business. He said, if it's okay to run all kind of business, but the food business is one of those businesses that almost for sure, if you know how to run it and you run it right, you'll be good because people eat 3 times a day. You know that makes sense.
Let's see. Talk about, I remember you told me stories about Auntie Hola and what a good cook she was.
Yeah, all I learned from my mom, you know, how to cook. And I didn't know till later on in life that May and Lolo had a restaurant in Nucalofa. So May, you know, she was the one that cooked the food. And I'm sure Hola learned from that. But I didn't know about the restaurant till I was later on. But they used to have a restaurant when they first started. Oh, the thing about Matala, I should say about their business, the way he started, Tulatai told me this. He said, Matale was his parents took him to if you guys know Okus Heti in Tonga. When I was young, they were the one that made lemonade. Even though it's the way you think about it, you think it's lemon. No, it's different flavor. But everybody call whatever they make lemon and hina lemon, even though it was raspberry or lemon or whatever. And Matala is to stay with them, and that's where he learned to speak English. He learned to do the business, and then growing up, he learned business firsthand. Seeing how the people in Owiseti run the business in Nuku'alofa. But Hamadi also said about running a business. Kupake de loto lah. In other words, don't be half-hearted. If you're going to do a business, go all out. Do and work hard. Of course, there's another thing about business. I know it's Sunday. I don't know why we talk about business. Anyway, but that's this family. They like to run whatever they do. They like to go in their own business, and and that's the bad thing about me. I have this bad thing about me growing up because I'm a Mataele. I don't like people to tell me anything. I like to do it my own way. It's my way or the highway. That's what I was. But now that I'm older, I need to learn to listen to people and take their advice, whether I like it or not, and at least listen to them. But to me, when somebody tries to tell me what to do about anything or business, I automatically turn them off, which is a bad thing to do. But that's what the Mataele does to you. You think you know everything and you do it your way or the highway kind of way. And that's how they are. Anti-color, same thing. Somebody wanted to go partner with her in Hawaii. Guess what? She told him no, because she like to make her own decision. If she fails, she fails. If she doesn't, if she make it, she make it. In other words, it's hard to run a business when somebody who knows more than you want to run the business say something that you don't agree with, and that's why it's better to be on your own when you run anything. So that way, but you have to be humble, of course, because we know that everything we got is from Heavenly Father, and if we listen, we'll be okay.
Malika, do you have a question?
Yeah, I had just generally. I mean, you lived with Alicia Dilatay, which was across from Apelecola, I think.
Yeah.
Did you hang out at Apelecola and know anything? What was your experience with Loloma and those guys, Mele or Mele Mataele and all those guys?
Okay. As far as Apelicola, when I was going to Tonga High School, we will march to Parliament time. Every school have to march, right? And we will come by. We always pass by Apelicola, and Loloma would wear a tie, and he would lipstick the whole like you see what's the cartoon clown. You see a
Wow.
clown. That's the way the lipstick was, and he would have a pistol on her both side, and you have a cowboy head, the whole thing. And everybody knows I'm related to him. And when we go by there, they'll say, Dewa, look. And this is what, let me tell you this. You know those ngeskema, the big, what's the English word for ngeskema? Those big shell like that. Loloma would throw something on it, on John F. Kennedy at that time, I guess he was popular here. And he would put the price on the ngeskema. Guess how much the price was? 10,000 banga for his picture on that thing. That's how Loloma was. And Loloma was very sad. And the first time I was there, they have a telephone. And one time I had to call, I don't know who I was going to call. He said to me, hey, I didn't know what that word means. When he said date, I said, what is he talking about? Loloma was really, really good with the English language. Then he asked me, just before I came to Laia, he said, when you come back, you're going to have your own undertaking. What's that word mean to me? I didn't know. I only to find out later. Now, undertaking means you're going to have your own business. That's the same word as business, but he used a very word that most people don't use when you're going to go into business. So he asked me, when you come back, you're going to have your own undertaking? I didn't know, because Loma's a very smart person, very, very smart. And that's the way I know about Loma. And I didn't hang out there because I was mostly at Talieva. That's where I listened to United States, and I used to go help out. And at that time, Tulare was the stevedore. So we used to go there and take food to the workers, employees, and that's all. And then me and Sibu in the evening do whatever. Me and Charles Brown, uh, Toti and Carlos' uncle. I used to work with him, getting stuff for the thing. So mostly I stayed at Talero, but once in a while after school or before I go to school, I stop by in Loloma. Loloma was a very, very bright person as far as intellectual, very, very smart. And that's what I know about Loloma.
Do you like music like the others?
Yeah, the funny thing, I told my wife, I'll give you a story, see how much I know about music. I love to hear music, and I'll tell you why. My mom said when I was young, I would cry until they take me to a faikava where they sing, and then I would stop crying. That's how much I like music when I was young. Okay, growing up, I like to listen. I took a music appreciation in the pre-existing, I think, and I learned to like music. So one day when we were on a mission in Tonga, the temple missionary, we went. Somebody asked us to go to different villages every Sunday, and invite the people to come to the temple more often. So we went to Haveluliku, and this is Sunday school time. So the teacher knew of me. I was, of course, on my badge, of course, it says Elder Mataele, and she knew about the family, how musical they were. And the theme of I forgot what the theme was, but somebody has to sing it, the theme. So the lady from the country, oh, Elder Matale is here with us. So we'll ask him to stand up and sing the theme of the lesson. Guess what happened? Oh, okay. I know you guys know that I'm a Matale and you think I can sing. I love music, like music, but you know what? If I get up and sing, all of you will leave the class. So that was how much I like music. I like it and I like to listen to good music, but I never did because I I guess spend my time just playing rugby. That's what I like when I was growing up. I like to play rugby. Most of my time growing up is playing rugby and go to school. That's it. Rugby, go to school. Uh, Looks like my brother here trying to speak, but he's mute right now. Yeah.
That was the question.
Did you meet your wife in Tonga High School, or
No,
did
my
you
wife
meet her?
in Tong High School. Okay, I knew her. In Tong High School, there's only about one member of the church in the class, except me. The class I was in, there were two, me and Rosalea Naufahu. And then all the other classes, just maybe one. Like Vuki Tang Tao was just one, and Kelela Talakai was just one in her class, and Aglisi, she's the only one in her class. So I knew all the people out there, like Ati uh, Ika Kola, she was there about me, and that's about it. There was not very many members at Tong High School. I didn't meet my wife in Tong High School. Even I know her, she know of me also because we were members. But I met her in Provo when she came for her master's degree, and I was going to school there. That's where we met. It's called Temple Tech. For those of you who didn't know, that's what the other name for BYU Provo is, Temple Tech. You go there to find somebody to go to the temple.
I thought you guys were translators.
Oh, and also the way I got to meet her real well, we were asked to be translators for the General Conference. That time was Fakato, Samuel Fakato. He was still alive. He was in charge of the Tongan translation for the church here in Salt Lake City. So that's how we got to get to know each other, and also from there on we became friends and then decided to get married, and then like they say, the rest is history. uh, one,
Hey, you have a question, Mary? You have to unmute yourself.
how is that?
No.
What they can hear.
Who is that?
Maybe she doesn't. So Lika, do you have another question? Or
I have a lot of questions, but I'm waiting for other people. I have some questions, and I
If they
just want to
don't
know more. I'm
If you don't ask
one of
any question, you can keep asking your question, Tolika.
you
no,
can do
another
another
question is, I'm surprised that you have a food store, not a bookstore. Because your wife is a book
Librarian.
person and you're a smart man, and I'm surprised you don't have, or even something to do with that stuff.
Oh, well, if you're gonna go into business, you better sell something people like. How many Tongans like to go to a bookstore? You name it. Maybe 1 in 100. Go to a bookstore.
You never know.
That's why we just stick to what Polynesian people like. Anything they like, we try to sell it over here. That's why Tangi told me today, you need to sell lychee because Tongan like to buy it and make dessert out of it. I guess we'll buy some lychee then. So she comes to the store, Tangi, but I guess you'll come more often if I get the lychee.
Dad, why don't you tell the story about Mataele we've told it before and I've shared it, but why don't you tell the story about Mataele and how he wrote the song Remember that I recorded you the song about church?
Oh, yeah.
Church.
Him 78. I'll tell you another thing, so you guys will all know. I got it from the horse's mouth. If you see the hymn book
Everyone
right
else talk.
who's that?
Mute me. And then what?
Huh? Freddie, you want to ask something? Anyway, uh, the hymn books that we have right now, the Tongan hymn books, it was changed from the. Some of you remember there was a small black little small handbook with the Tongan hymn in there, and there was no music in it, just the words. And they wanted to print the music and the words, but then Rodney Fagato, this is what President Pau told me, because he at that time he was the state president, and they were supposed to bring the copy of the music and everything, and have it so that the church can publish the one that we have right now. Guess what happened? Rodney lost it, and they just put different name. If you see some of Mataele's song that he wrote, it's credited to different people instead of him. And Aleki told me when I was in Tonga that for me to go and talk to the church, and I go, no, I don't want to talk about those kind of stuff. The Lord knows, we don't worry about that. All we worry about, we do what is right. Whatever did happen there, that's what happened. When they gave the manuscript to be published the way it is right now, some of the song were not done right. Who is the composer of it? But Madele, okay, when Matale was still alive and he was a member of the parliament, and Nuku, who is the noble of Kolonga, he's related to Nuku. But I don't know the relationship. But it's I think it's his nephew. I think something like that. So he was the chairman of the parliament, and Matale knew that they're going to vote that day to authorize uh, the Mormon Church to be a legal entity. In other words, you become legal, and people will that the government will recognize you as a church. So that day, Nopere Nuku came. They always have breakfast in the morning before they go to parliament because they are both a member of the parliament. So Matare told Nuku, if we're gonna go, I know it's gonna be a split, and you are gonna break the tie. It's gonna be a tie vote, and so the chairman of the parliament will break the tie, and you vote with me, because of course he's a relative. Also, he come eat breakfast every morning. So when they went to the parliament, and the vote was tied, and then Nuku voted with the parliament to legalize, to make it legal that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is going to be. But the people that didn't, of course, they didn't like the church. That's why they didn't like it. But the problem at that time with those people that voted for Matare, almost all the people that work for the parliament, na muua for Matare. That's what my dad, because my dad lived with him. Most of the people that were working for the government at that time, they whakabuuhay whakaroa Matare at that time. So that's most of the people in the parliament that voted with him because they knew they owe him. If they don't vote with him, guess what? No more whakamoa. But that's why half of the people there voted with Matare. So after that, Matare wrote that song, hymn number 78. It's called Monu Kakohamonu. In other words, Tonga is very, very blessed to accept the gospel of Jesus Christ. If you read the lyrics, you can see the deep meaning of the verse. Every now and then you should read that song. I told President Shumway when I was in Tonga about that, and he was surprised he didn't know that song was written by Grandpa to commemorate the fact that Tonga accepted Tonga as a true and legal Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Not, but the Tongan people at the time were just referring to the church as a cult rather than a church. That's the story about that. What else?
How many siblings do you have? Things like that. I'm sorry, I know some of you, but I don't know all of you.
Okay. Tonight, some of you will be surprised. I'm going to tell you something most you don't know. Hola is my oldest sister. She died when she was a baby, you know. And then after Hola, and then me, then after me, the next child, not too many people know, but I'll tell you. And I told my wife today, it bothered me the last 2 weeks that I don't know if his name is on it or not. His name is Sione. Sione
Yone Ata.
Sione Ata. Yes.
Yeah.
He died when I was a baby also. Now that explains the fact that when my mom was so attached to me because the daughter before me died and the son after me died. I was the only one that gave her comfort. And that's why a lot of people don't understand how she's so attached to me. And she you know, she's, I don't know, she loves me more than most people. My wife said I should be attached to her, not my mother. Can you believe that? Anyway, and then after Sione and then Tutul Beatau, Tony, Tony, of course, is named after Tony, Tony Mataele. Then after Tony is my sister Ofa. But my mom adopted her sister's son, Son Foka, but we just call him Son Latu. Then Ofa Kibowono, but the only sister we have. Of course, she passed away in 2000. What year? 2007. And then after Ofa, and then this Leland Freddy. Leland Freddy was named after uh, you guys too young. Anyway,
Yeah, after Antiopa Sonololo.
Son Lola. Yeah, Son Lola, and then Feletti. And then Feletti was born when we were on a mission in Nakoro, 1957. And he was named after one of the sister missionaries' father, Leland. Leland, if you see it, some of the street here in Utah, it's called Leland, I guess after the guy. But he was part Indian, the lady, I forgot her name. And then after Freddie, and then Samuela, and then Essay, and then after Essay, and then Micah. Micah is the youngest. So my brother Tulu named Micah. I don't know why my parents let him name him, but he named Micah, Michael Law. I guess some of the people in Riahona Tulu name Micah after that. So that's
Friend from high school, I think.
yeah, I
Name
from
him after
high
that.
school. Yeah.
His name was Michael. So I remember brought him home one day. It was a white guy.
Yeah, that's who Tulu named Micah after. And then my parents, just so you know, my parents adopted my Moa. That's Tony and Latai's son. No, Tony and Latai. Yeah, my Moa is his son. And then he adopted Yipu. He passed away. That's why their last name is Mataele, because that's how my parents adopted them so they can come to US.
Monu Elipo.
Yeah. In Bono, I guess. Those are the people my parents adopted so they can come to the US legally. But see, in Tonga at that time, if you know somebody at the register where you register people for deaf, and whatever, I guess Dad knew somebody over there. He just go up there and they put down him and mom as the uh, parents for those people. And that's why there are three, name, it's just like Kawasi and them. They brought Viola and I guess Eleanor through Uncle Kawasi. It's the same thing. That's how families are. You try to help each other. What else you want, Tolika? Anybody else have a question you're gonna ask? Don't wait till Tolika. Go ahead, Tolika.
I have a question.
What is it?
Okay, so last week I was a little confused because Beauty said that Mataele created his own church. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know anything about that. But I don't know. Apellicolo have their own story, and we have our own story. What we know, But I have never heard that before. But if
And I never heard it either, so I was really confused.
Okay. The other thing about Grandpa Mataele, no one since I grew up was kay malanga feiju ilotun. Grandpa, I saw him when I was still young. He would sit in Apelicola and he would be preaching the gospel. How many of us can do that? You know, that's how unafraid he was. He wanted, in other words, if you know something to be true, what do you have to hide? What do you have to hide? Yeah, he did. He preached in front of Apelicola. As far as I saw it, when I was growing up.
Matingata.
So
Dad, can you share the story about the watermelons and Lolo? Selling the watermelons.
oh, Carlo knows about that. When Lolo went to Fiji to sell his stuff over there, these people, farmers, they come from from the bush in Fiji to bring their stuff to Suva, just the capital, and you sell watermelon, whole watermelon. You know, when Grandpa went over there, uh, they were so surprised. It's called marketing. Marketing. What he did, he will cut up the watermelon. It's easy for everybody can buy a watermelon. When you a piece you can afford it. Affordability is the name of the game in business. If people can afford it, they'll buy it. So he cut them up, and he sold a whole load of watermelon, mostly cut up, because people a lot of it. We can see that if something was divided smaller, so you can afford it. That's why when you come to my store, you either buy a box or you buy by the pound. In other words, you can buy 1 pound or 40 pound. I learned that from Grandpa. That's how you do. And by the time the boat was ready to come to Tonga, he sold a whole load of watermelon. You know, but people didn't know. I'll tell you another story. Grandpa, Lolo, Sin Lolo, now that you learn a little bit about him, he's a marketing guy. He, before I came here, I didn't know what is marketing. Figure out a way to sell your product so people like it. So Lolo, he had Kavatonga. He wanted to sell it. But how do you sell a Kavatonga? You have to create a market. And this is how Grandpa did it. Somebody will come. I know Natam of the Indian guy. He has a store. Lolo would tell the guy, hey, ask Natam Fataho Kava, if they sell Kava over there. And the guy he goes, and Natam says, oh, no, we don't sell Kava here. So every day he'll ask somebody to go to Natam and ask Natam if they sell Kava. Natam would say no. Pretty soon, when Lolo showed up, like a month later, he didn't ask Madame to sell the car. Madame will run to him, Lolo, I want to buy your car so I can sell it. You see what I mean? That's the kind of guy my grandpa was. He's a marketer. Not only a business, he knows how to create the market. Figure out how can somebody can buy my stuff? Well, you better figure it out. So somebody else will figure it out, and then you'll sell more than you.
That's very.
Yeah, that's another story about what grandpa.
How about you selling my?
I already told my wife was asked me about the story about her, and I told her I already told you guys about that. But she said she had the last laugh. So what do I say?
You sure did.
More about her.
More about it. Yeah. That's how Grandpa was. He's a guy, kind of guy,
Can you talk about how did Grandpa Tony meet Latai? Do you know anything about that story?
Yes. Grandpa, Tony, at that time, he had what you call a concubine, a lady from Babao. They were not married, they were just living together. And Suliana, that's Mafleo's future wife, came to stay with Latai and them because they are related. And my mom is related to Latai and also to their first cousin, also to Suliana. So I guess somehow they met. Latai and Tony got met. They somehow met, and of course they got married and have their children. But Leo, he was very close to Tony. He goes to Tony almost every day because Tony went to Faleta new, that kind of thing. Faleta new. Like I told you, they always like to have their own business. That's what he did. He was have the wallahi new for Apico. Ako maile. We go maolunga. I think Manu has that now. Apia ko Mataele ko fahuia ka wahai. So most of Mataele's children, they have land in Fau'i. Sela, their sister, had a land there. in Fa'ui. So was Maile and Tony and Grandpa Lolo. They have land over in Fa'ui. The fact because the dad is the faho on the on the Bahai people. So I guess somehow Tony and Ladai met because it's, and then of course Leo goes there all the time. And Latai and Suliana came, over to there. That's how Leo met Suliana, because Leo goes to Tony almost every day, like a father to him growing up. He's very close to Tony, Leo. Because for us, when we go from our home in Fowey to Puko, that's the name of the plantation, the bush that Grandpa had. We go through by Tony's house. Tony's that's how we go to the bush through Tony's property to go to Puko, which is where we had our plantation.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Niwa.
Yeah.
See, Emma, they don't listen. Are you listening to me, Niwa?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Ko inoke mo loloma.
Yeah.
Na ko naua pe na kai ma hana api tuku hawi fo ui.
Ko ia.
Kana hanga e mataere ya matu ko ha utu ko ha utu ko tofia pure anga. Hanga e lolo mai e mataere ya ma wai api tuku hawe tolu. Pa te hanga rewa o takitaha loloma ai api takitaha api tuku hau. Pa te hanga rewa tofi e api tuku hau e taha. Ona vai ua ko mea kuna taki e kai taha ua hanango api. Iha o tu ko ko na ua ko ma hana api tuku hau na wai fo ui. Ka wofi ma na api tuku hau na mata hau ka ko ha utu ko tofi e pure anga.
Oh. Ia na ui be dai api o loloma mo ilo ke.
Ona tu whakataha pe ngo api.
Api ka koe kai taha ko ke kai malu like the normal.
Ia, o kuna taki e ka taha ua. Ko talama ino ke na hanga e mataere kai ke ma ko na api fo ui. Ba hanga rewa e mataere a na api ko heka mantu ko na hange ko lau na e pure anga fo ke mataere. Ona hanga ai api o vai ua foi api foi te awe tolu. Na taki taha e mea pa vai ua rewa ai api tuku hau hono tolu na taki e ka naua e taha ua. Ko naua pia e ka taha ua na ngahi api tuku hau.
Ko ia. So ko api ko o ku hau api te mi ko I fo ui. Ko tal mai ko he ka save ya. Ko hanga u api ko foi me pe fa pe ni ma hanga ko no vo api. Ko api ko o lolo ko I fo ui. O foi tuk e tahata. Think about it. Foi tuk e tahata. Ko le ko api ulo to bere ko fa ti ke lo bere ai ko ti pen pe me ko ma na fili ke na ta ekipa pe ai pe. Pa ko save ana na tuk fu tamai te ke mo so api o la ka tuk e fa pe ni ma. Ko foi tuk e tahata. He guafe pe o to bele nga to guafe ju ke apeta ha pa ko ke ai api o to ai api te mi ko api ai ko to he ma to mata bo mui o ku ova ka to a kakai e kiloto nga panga na to he nga ton ko api ko ke nga to api ko fo ko nga fa te le fo ma te le ne le ko ono me ha pe ha ke hala prenga o ko le tu ko hala prenga o ko fa wa hala prenga o ma u e o ko api ka tang tu ai pe ko na ko si ai pe ai mu pe mai ka kai to la ko me ko e api ko ka no to mo ka tang ko to mo ai lo to hala ko api ka ho mu ba ki mu nga ke ko stu e hala prenga just the information how
Okay, Auntie Mao has a question.
okay, what's the question?
Auntie Mao?
Mao?
Auntie Mao, you're muted.
You're muted, Mao.
Hola, what was that?
Oh, now we can
Your
hear.
hand raised. Do you have a question?
Yeah, no, I don't. No, I don't.
I have a question, please.
Okay.
Okay.
Niwa, the home I remember living in Fa'ui, the home, Grandpa Lolo's home, it was called Kauhala, but I think there's another name for it, isn't there?
Well, I think there's another name, but I think Jason might know.
I just remember it being Kauhala, but someone told me there's another name for it.
Ask Jason or Carlo, they might know.
Yeah.
I know
Okay.
Name, but I'm not sure about that. And the thing,
I think
about the
I
land,
think Tony was the one who told me there was another name, but I just knew it as Kauhala. They called it Kauhala. Was that the
yeah,
name?
yeah, that's the name when I was growing up. But I'm going there's
Yeah.
another. And I found out right now in Tonga, if your land is more than so many square feet or acres, they'll divide it up. You know, the next land, was Avalu and them, they divide 3 ways. But
Ah,
the land that I'm right now is under my name. It's his name. We changed his name anyway. If it was registered before 1926, they cannot touch it. And mine was registered October 1924. So the Kamen
oh,
or the noble cannot touch it anymore. And
Wow.
get off. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool. Yep, yep.
I found it out when I went down and put the fence up over there. And the people say, wow, they cannot touch it because the next one, why Tawayo family, they divided already. Yeah.
Wow.
But
So with
guys.
so now that you own it, would you like one day when you build or put something up there, would you rename it or will you keep the name Kauhala?
We just keep the name, the same name.
I know it's so cool. I love that. That's a good. I was just wondering, yeah. But I would really love to know because I'm pretty sure either Tony or somebody told me there's another name for Kauhala.
I know it's Anticalo. Ask Anticalo or Auntie Tesa. They probably know because I'm sure
Okay.
they use the name.
Auntie Tesa just told me it was called Kauhala Mamao.
Oh, Kauhala Mamao. That's probably right.
Yeah, that doesn't ring a bell, but Kauhala does.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's nice.
Yeah.
I think UK, do you have a question?
I do have a question. Actually, it's actually I was hoping that we possibly can the question is actually to your wife. Is there by chance we can see her beautiful face?
No. My wife is over here. Right there. Right there. That's her. You see her?
Hi, Nice.
Hi, nice.
What can I help you with?
Young and beautiful.
Niwa,
The boss.
Niwa.
Wow.
Naku ala te tā ko hinga ko mota no ko na ko ke hingoa api.
Yeah.
Naku ala te taha ki tonga pa tama e maire ke alongo pike apu ia ke mau lunch. Pa talange ka Luisa ke mau te alo pike apu maire pe tama Luisa. Mo mai ki whare kai ka ngaha mo lunch. Pa taimi ko naku ala tu ke ka maire tama maire i kai. Tā tau ki apere ko ula ko sta ki tama iki. Pa ko ta hai o mea na tala mai e maire ke a te au. Ko ene whakaamu ia. Nā e taime taha na ririwe hingoa ko I loto kolo, ko Beauty and in some name. Nā tama e maire ka te au, whakaamu ange pe ke ririwe api ke hingoa e nau tamai, ko tene e bom, a pere ko la. Pa kune whakaamu ia, ke oua na amore hingoa ko he api ko ni hataimi, he ku whakamanato ai e nau tamai. Ko Maire told me straight in front I olunga ho whai malans matu kai hangalewa Maire tangita maiki o mai e ma te pire ke makai pe o sio hi whake halata wha ahau. Pe koe whaka amuia koe a Maire ke oa na amore hingoa koe ni e nau tau mai mi api koe ni loto ko loha taimi. He whakamanato ki he nau tau mai ko hingoa na e nau tau mai ai apere ko la. So that's one thing Maire told me.
Oh.
Mo,
Wow.
we just want to know who it.
Mo.
What's
It's
this?
Mo.
Iyo, kwa mo sese.
Hi, Mo.
Your camera is off, so we don't see you. That's why it says iPad.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, no problem.
Na wai me taha na ku fie am ka ke ilo pe na ilo family ki ai. Kana tala mai he taha ne tala no hanga tono mai me na fai e si o tu ila tai. Ila tai me ko na ai fo a te ulanga ko tempale I tonga. Na ave ki he whare area. Na nau sio nau tole o ke asia I hakolosia. Na nau voti nau toloia ke to a molonai he kwasi fo ke he mape ko molonai ko kolosi. Ke to a molonai ke tuai kolosi. na italahi a tuilatai, ko taimi ko ia na sea no pere kono uiha.
Malpo.
A malupo. Na kai to lava a tuilatai o ka taki kai tu ke olunga o kai kaila ka manatu sai pe fo ka tuilatai ko ngai ken fae. O kai kaila ka malupo. E malupo. Ka pau whakapongi ho tangata iki ake hafu utoki. Te ke ka hoa holo fu utoki ke mahino na whakapongi ho iki ake hafu utoki. O ku pehe tui ai māmonga. O kui kai ke mau fia ma e kolosi he ko mea whakamahi na hoko mau eki. Ki he eki. So, pananau hanga lewa pulu, hei kai ai kolosi ka ai pe mea go whakatu he se asi e molonai. That's a story again. Na ma fo i tāno ko ni me toko tahana e whare area. Kai ke ilo he toko lahi.
Thank you, Mo.
Thank you, Mo. Hi, Inga.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Sorry, I Mo hair.
Okay. Sabi, una record hola, you guys can,
Okay.
you know, can look at it. Well, how feel you guys feel with? Do you have any question?
I gave all my questions to Luisa.
Oh, is that all the question Luisa got? Yeah.
That's one thing I remember about Latai, the Bariloto. That the most two beautiful women for most beautiful voices is to Babao and Alice.
Oh, okay. My wife remembered Latai because of Alicia and Tovao, their beautiful voices over there.
And the most two beautiful ladies.
Yeah.
Hey, can you say something about Grandpa Lucky, Vic? I mean, did you know them well,
Yeah.
or did you
About your age?
just stay with Tuelatay and Alicia?
Oh,
Or did you know about the pool hall that they had?
oh yes. Okay.
What did you do there? Did you go there often?
Well, I never played pool because I didn't know how, but I always see all the people from Fa'ui because they know Loloma is Matale's son, and they always kind of more like a security guy for him. Because some of the people who was kind of rowdy and stuff like that, Loloma was saying, I got a good fanguri, meaning to make me forget my tana, talk about no feel power, but anybody, they don't, they don't. Try to do anything that's not in harmony with what the Loma used to say.
Lucky has a beautiful voice.
Lucky has a
Sing on the
beautiful
radio.
voice, and Vicky has a very beautiful voice too. He's a good singer, and I know Vicky because I went to high school, and then my last year, Carl wanted me to go to Hana, so it'd be easier to come to Church College of Hawaii. So we went to school with Vicky that time in the 1962, and. But I don't know. Vicky just liked to sing, I guess. He didn't care about going to school because we were in the same drama class with Vicky, and he played a major role for the play that we were practicing. And just before we were supposed to, excuse me, to have the play put on, he didn't come to school. I don't know what happened. But anyway, he ended up coming to Hawaii and went to Church College of Hawaii at that time. Yeah, he's the thing about Vicky, some of the songs that he sing, I like his version than the original. That's how good he was. He was really good in music. That's what I learned about Vicky. And I know his two children here, Ikuna and Maile. They're very close. They're very active in the church. But just Vicky is Vicky. I guess he has his own version of what he believes, and I don't think he doesn't believe in God anymore. That's what my Iguna told me, his son. But Iguna is very active. His kids go on a mission. So is Maile. See, Vicky named his daughter after Maile, his brother. Because you can call a man or a woman Maile. That's how close they are. That's his oldest brother, so he named his oldest daughter Miley. That's how close those brothers are, Mataele brothers. That's how I know them. They're very good singer. They're really good in singing. And of course, we lived with Vicky in Hawaii when he first came, with Toti and Malini and Haloti. That's Sela's grandkids, Malini and Haloti. Of course, Carlo got their papers so they can come. They're very, they like to help. Not only love people, but when you help people, that's more than ask for. Anything else? Anybody want to ask?
Did you know about did you know my brother Paul, or did you? I mean, he was kind of the same age, but I think a little younger. I'm not sure.
I
But
think I didn't know him that well, but I heard of his name. I heard of him. I think I probably have seen him once or twice because the church. We meet people over there. I didn't really know him that much.
Do you know where he is at all, or have heard anything?
No, I don't know.
Dorika?
no, we don't.
Okay. What else do you want to know from 1950s?
I'll tell you something today now.
How do you keep yourself looking that young?
Oh, my wife cooking. We go eat in a restaurant. Not really. Let me say something that I always tell people. When they ask the same question a lot of people ask, I tell you, listen to what I want to say. I say to everyone that asks that question. Today was the tomorrow you worried about yesterday. Is it worth it? So don't worry. What do you worry? The worrying doesn't do anything, Just if something happened and you can't help it, let it go. Just move on. In other words, you gotta keep moving forward, not backward. And
I like that.
Yeah. Don't worry about yesterday. Don't worry. That's the main thing. Worry doesn't do. It gives you ulcers. Why do you want to self whatever you want to call it yourself? So don't worry. If something wrong happened to you or anyone in your family, just move on. And you have to learn to forgive people if they done something wrong. We need to learn to live like the Savior. President Bunsen said, success, this is what he defines success. Success is when you live your life closest to the way the Savior lived. I think if we do that, things will happen. Hey, just because we go to church, pay our tithing, go to temple, doesn't mean we won't have any temptation, we won't have any trial. No. Trial and temptation is supposed to strengthen us, make us a better person, make us more close to Christ than anything else. So just because you are active in anything that church doesn't mean you're going to live a life that don't have any problem. No, that does not happen. Everybody who is a disciple of Jesus Christ will go through that. It's called a refiner's fire. That's what that is. It makes us better but we have to overcome them. It doesn't matter how big the temptation or trial we have. The main thing is remember to overcome them, little at a time. There's so many things that we can help. Nelson even said it. No one is going to be perfect in this life, but the main thing we strive. We fall down, get up. Don't let Satan have his way. You have to have your way.
Why don't we tell us a little bit about the Barbarians, and you were on the team with your uncle, your cousins, everybody. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, that team was like a family thing. Almost everybody was. I played with Marciano and Eloni and my uncle Kawasi and Ipu, and almost half the team was a Mataele team. They just like to socialize. You know what I mean? That family, they like to party, they like to socialize, they like to have fun, they like to play music, anything that uplift the individual. Sports is something, competition. It's almost like business. You compete, but in sports, you give it your best, and if you lose, be a good loser. If you win, Good.
Were you guys good losers? I've heard stories.
Oh, we don't like to lose, of course. Nobody wants to lose. But if you lose, you better learn to be a good loser. Anyway, we were really good. Barbarians were a really good team, and we love it. And playing with each other in there. And Andy Carl and them, they fed us, man. And I talked to one of the guys. It's not a relative. He said, we like to go to join the Barbarians. I said, why? They don't only feed us. They give us money. That's what happened to some of the guys that I know that play for the Barbarians.
Can you talk about living in Hawaii with Malini and Uncle Mafileo and Tuliana?
Okay. Now, you want to hear the funny story? When Mafileo came to Hawaii, of course, he came before me, and then I came, and we would go. He liked to go, but I didn't like to be in business. He liked to go to, we were bidding on something to clean up, something, just clean the bush or whatever. So my friend would go and talk to the guy. This is when he first came, and I would be standing close by, but I didn't listen to him too well. After he talked to the guy, I saw him nodding his head. The guy talking to my friend, and then he came and I said, what did the guy say? He said, you talked to him. I didn't talk to him. You're the one who talked to him. Anyway, but that's my friend when he first came. He liked to do his own business. But he had to go to take class at night so he can learn to speak English. So it really was good that he learned how to speak English. And Malini and me, we lived with Haloti and Anticalo and Tesa and those people. And then Chumlata came later on. But me about Malini, before those people came, we were staying with on another house, me and Malini. And Stanley. Stanley, at that time, he's a Mataele. He has to be in business. So when we come, because we work passport at the restaurant and we have a tip, every night we get tips. And Stanley would come and wake us up. And we thought, what the heck? Why are you trying to wake us up? He would sell us his mango, $1 a mango for each of us. So every morning he would go collect the mango, come sell it to us. He did the same thing with Leo's employee. He would go and sell them the drinks at wherever they work. And yeah, my Leo and Juliana, we were very close when we were living in Hawaii. Especially Stanley because he wanted to do business by selling his mangoes to us, me and Malini.
Through Mataele.
Yes, they have to sell something. They can't stay happy unless they sell something.
And get a profit.
Yes, you gotta have profit. Otherwise, you won't be in business anymore. Yeah, this how that was that time.
Petra, are you the oldest? Kon mo ko po nalahita ako o Mataele?
No, Mannering.
Oh, Mannering.
Mannering.
Okay.
He's the oldest. He's a patriarch too. Mannering is. Yeah.
You mean Lolo?
Lolo,
Lika?
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
for grandpa, great grandpa Mataele.
Oh no.
I think it was either Sio or Latu.
Great grandson or great grandchild.
Oh,
Okay, Sisi go iya.
yeah. I think.
Saya is the oldest.
Yeah, Mannering. He's the oldest.
Dad's the oldest, and then I think is it Monu a month
Monu.
older than you, Dad?
Yeah, more than me. Yeah.
Did Hola get married? First, then
Yeah.
Latu.
Yeah, he married a Palangi guy from New Zealand. That's where the Mannering come from. Then he came to back to Tonga. He didn't want to go back. And my Mannering told me because where they live is far away from anything. It's a big farm. And I guess Holo was just too lonesome because there's nobody there. He went and see where his dad lived. He said, "Man, no wonder why my mom left." I said, "Why? It's so far away. There's nobody around. There's hardly anybody around there." But for that farm, and that when he came, he didn't want to go back. You know how it is. You go, you used to live with family and everybody, and all of a sudden it's just you, nobody, but you and maybe the farm or help or whatever. But that's what Maren told me why his mom didn't want to go back after he had him. Yeah, Melanie is oldest. Great.
Any other questions?
Niua, did you know Great Grandpa Mataele? Sorry, I woke up too
told
late.
them before. When I was going to Tonga High School, the day I went to high school, the first day, my dad took me over there and introduced me to him. He told him because he knew Mataele like education and stuff like that. So he was so glad that I went to that I was able to go to high school. And then my dad told me, my dad lived with him, so I wish he was alive. He could have told you all kind of story. This is how they live. When the milkman bring their milk, he was supposed to put the milk on a teapot, put it on the stove, pump the stove, and light it before he goes. In other words, you don't just bring the milk. You bring the milk and also I stove the really in a way. Kung na ko dia ko hua kawatata. But ko pataya o kai ke I think the people who know them knows what I'm going to tell you. O kai ke tofi mai. O pakibe foi ma o peke. That's the right word. O peke ake apata. And another story about Mataele, when my dad said, how ko no pere ko nuku ko ke nao ke fale le pa pe mai ano pere. Kwa loro hen. Alat pe Mataele mai fu pan pata o ai o mi I don't know peang a Mataele. Ikai ko ngai to ai loro ke ngila ta ulu ngila pe me pata. That's how Grandpa was. That's what my dad said was he lived with him. So, and then another thing my good dad said, que now no foko ya mo ton mo ya. O kai ka me ko haka, ka na haka. Me ko to be ko ya ke pa. Ko me ana to fai mo ton ko o a pa ne no to ko pa ne no ke u api ka ma na u haka u fi ko me. Saya foi ka ga api ai ko ga na si ni fa ta wa ke apa to lu me pa no. Na an ga ma na u haka me u api. Ko na fi ko ka kai ma pa na o pe. That's how Mataele was. He was like Dad said que time ko mai kakai ke whakatau kon wharekoroa ka pa ulau tohe Mataele time ka. He kai ke ne tukan lau tohe ana. Te ne riat pe ka ki ke kakai ke na o ai na mo ua pa tuk tohe pa na o. Pa ko na osko na o kakai at whaka Mataele. I guess Grandpa had a photographic memory. O sio koroa ni loa u koroa na ave na ke tohe ia. Pa hau koe tamaha no no ko ke totonga no ua pa Mataele. Na ngalo ke tohi moe tamata o io ko ngalo ko loi na ni o si lo pe ho be ke pe ko ke lo Mataele umena ne a that's how Grandpa was.
You have a question, Uncle Tulu?
No, I want to add on to what your dad said about Nuku. Nuku and Mataele, I mean Nuku and Vahai were twins. Now that you know this. But that's why Nuku stayed with Mataele. That was his grandson, his father's grandson. He came and stayed with Mataele in town and go to the parliament.
He was the
So
chairman.
that they are twins. If you ever heard that Nukumo Vahai, sometimes people in the later generations are named after the twins. They call them Nukumo Vahai because they were twins.
It's true.
No,
Any other questions or comments?
Niua.
Wow.
Na manatu I ko au ko lahi taha ia he whakamopuna I no ke ko laifi ko I no ke na close ko na e whanki tala noa na ne whai maybe some other time ia ka na lahi na e whanki tala noa na ne whai o kau ke ne tamai because na e ne tupu hake pe whoki o koi ke mea hono whawhonga me he ne KCE na ngata pe e ne a ko he CPS a kolovai. Ko talange ko he tamai I te ke nofo korosi mai ki au he ke mawai ha mo ui he kukai ke get. So, pena lai whanki tala noa le leina e whai he e. Ka nai lahi pe tala noa I no ke tawa aki whakalotu. Ke ngahi pola, ngahi mea kai, fuake hoosi, fuake sariote, ke hani ihe o ngahi kakai me ngahi kolo kehe na nau fō mai, mana tu I he ne tala noa kai ke ilo takoe na ia I pe fuaniu pe ia Mataele ke he me fuaniu ai puleanga.
Iyo.
So,
ko kamata Mataele fuaniu patok whake puleanga. Nē kai
Koia.
ka fuaniu puleanga. Ko whake Mataele ke mawe muia kakai.
Ka koe ne tala noa ke ni iho hakakai me he ngahi kolo au haka me ko whē. Koe o mai na fua pētanga I. Hanga ino keo e Mataele ange kau me taha ange nau sariote. Ka pai ko sariote ka he taimiko hange anga fupasi hao ni. E hono mahu inga. Ang kau me ni na hao pe ange nau hosi ke nau oai. O nau become a member o nau mau hoko ko me mipa. O si hao motua me I whahefa ko ne alo malanga. Whakawhi e Mataele ke awhi ngi ke nakai pengahe pola nakai. O si puka tuko aluka hao I hoko ia ko me mipa. Na lahe tala noa o ke ngahi whaunga pehe a tangata e ki a Mataele ke tokoni ke honolanga o si I tonga. So, koe maki tala noa pehe teke ne sariote keke e kukui. So, nai ki tala noa me ria ke he ne tamai. So,
Yeah, they were very active as a missionary as far as. He koe mea ko tūni tau whai ngai hao ni koe whakawhi. That's the key word, whakawhi kakai. So whatever you do to invite people to the gospel, koe malangai o whai he kau whai whekau. Ko nau raka ngai, ko nau whatongi ai, koe malangai o kori. Us, we invite. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what Mataele and Lolohe did. They invite people, but ko malangai na whai kau whai whekau. Ko tonga pēr nau kai tu e kau whai whekau malanga. Ta mai lohe a kau. Malanga I koe na toru koe ngahi e mea kai o mea kai o kai, ka malanga kau whiwhi kau. We invite. Remember that, guys. The word is invite people to the gospel. Ka missionary will, whatever you do, peko whai ka mea ki ai, peko whakawhi, ki ha, ka koe kogai ho whakawhi ko wanga le rei ke ka kai koto. Peko ngaki na whiwhanau ki o ngongo le rei. That's my 2 cents.
I appreciate your stories about Lolo Hair. I always wanted to know a little bit about her. Like I mentioned, and then how persistent she was. We all know that she was the one who went and to Wava'u to bring the missionaries. She seems like she was a strong woman,
Very, very strong
great
woman.
faith, persistent, as you say. I mean, just keep talking about her. I'd love to sort of connect with her in that way.
But it was Grandpa who sent her to go get. And the real reason, of course, is not the church. The real reason Grandpa wanted to help learn to speak English. Yeah, that's the main reason why he wanted Lord Hare to go and invite the missionaries so that they can learn how to speak English. And while I was in Tonga, so for your information, while I was in the temple working as a missionary with my wife, of course I had the pets of the Elder Mataele in the temple. And one of the grandson of Missy, oh my gosh, I forgot his name. Ko ia kau he kau whaia koe ki apia koe na foto Mataele koe I fōui. Koe uraki apia koe na foto I fōui koe o koe ai koe ai rea whapārangi. But grandfather, he wrote, I have the copy. I hope I have time to make a copy for all of you. Ke musio koe ke ngā ue na whai koe Mataele te ono tonga ni koe se asi koe. Tama he saraka, hey, koe no lak whewme pe kau. Do you know Mataele no Lohea? That's the question they asked me inside the temple. I said, that's my great-grandpa and great-grandpa. And I said, why? I'm writing a book about my grandpa's when he was a missionary in Tonga. So I took him when he said, can you take me? So I took him to where I go ki Apiago, Afasa. You know where Afasa is? Toki ilo e a ui na ilise apiko ia e a whemui. I mean, io e a whemui whuka whoe Afasa. Ki a mea. Ki he si tau e hiwe hiwa. Pana tu e ki api ako I mui ai he api ko mu a ia na maui he si. Kono hinga ia na tuka latu ni fo like 2017 o toki langa ai e mokopuna a fasa ai whare mu a pope. All this time na tu pona whare mu I tamai kakai. Kono hinga tong mahina ka na ono he si e fui konga koia but didn't do anything. Foi ko ko wa ka apia na tua ko ki apia ko na tua ro ki ap ko ai si o ako
Tama alo mai mai waya ke sa si te me ai peti. Please. Ko
Yeah.
num to pe pe se te o mo.
Okay. I was talking about yeah. If I have time, somebody will have to remind me. Ke aha copy o tohinoa. I mean not tohinoa ko tohina fa mai si kau ke ne kui hene fa fi kau ne o fotu ko ki apeko. Pa mau foka o fai ta e ki fe tu ko ne tu e ki apeko. Pa mau fai ta e fe tu ko ne o tu e se si ko su ko he mai foki mo e ala ta bin. Pa mau ki tai o fai ta ko na ko fe tu ne fai u papi ne fa ko ka e fai papi ne fai papi ki ta. I fe ko fa hina. Mai fai no fai tai e me. Fe tu fai ke papi ko e ka kai. So I have that book that this guy wrote about his grandpa when he was in Tonga. And the other thing about
would love to read it.
Yeah, the other thing, yeah, it would be interesting for you to read. The other thing about Talohea, he told us, ko uraki kameni na tuitui tonga koia. Na e whai whikau, ngā rai puhai whikau na talawai, na hau e koe me kora, matu ko kola te ngwana ke kau mai haraku tau mai, na fōka ke tahi, ko hau na hau pe tahi. Me hau fo ke whewhikau ku viku he kāmeni. Me hanga le o tanga lolohea ke ne o kosi o sip mau potu peru mea ke tutu e lolohea e kāmeni pe oispen hanga tāpaki. So now you know your great grandma was the first one to sow the kāmen. Kana e ui e tonga he utuwa ke ko effort. They didn't call it kāmen. They call it effort. I don't know why. To me, it's a misnomer. Because the Lagwe Old Testament effort is not common. It's different altogether. Can I we have don't have effort, but no, it's a proper way to come in. But the lawyer says he sowed the first comment, and the missionary blessed the comment so he can wear it. So that's the thing about Lolo here in the church.
Hey, I want to share something with you guys.
Okay, go ahead.
Koe ahoni na tā mai Elder Vaisikahema o whieha o visit mai ka maua na os hiki mai ki Provo. Whieha wane na mau tānoa pa ne tānoa fo ke ne kui pau tarangi ai. O ke ilo i ko kui ko ula tamai e hameti ko Mataele mo iki o na kāsini.
Furi vai.
Furi vai. Pea ko hinga na hanga ko panau tarangi ka ke ne ilo e ko tangi na ke kapape ke alhe me historia se asi na o mai ta va fitaha ta va hibataha pea ka ke mo ui pa fafo ki hamoa ko te mai hono nga ua ko ne mai ko o ha ko ki va u pea whanonga Mataele pane ko hinga na ne sene alolohea ke alu ke iki ke o mai hango fai ko ngo faiako na kai ave ko mai ngo faiako ke ako ine whanau pe ala lolohea patange iki io pa foki ma lolohea kana fetu tak foki hamoa ke mahino ke tari ka toke ho mai pe ha o ngo fai fe ka foki ka ke ha fetu taki mai kia lolo kia Mataele o ha ngo ka ki tonga ka ke Mataele me ke tana pana sino folo ikolo pana enapi mafanga enapa ke I mu apa to ilo ke Mataele to ko mas foto ko ya ko I mea I fo ui o ta o ke me ka ken hanga ia ilo fo I talanoa ko ya mo fo ko ta io ko kui ai ko Maria Mataele na efekau ke alu ko ni na hinga pe ne feka alu e Mataele ko nga he ko no family ona ia iki ke o mai ai pai ako ke ako ini whanau pena e papia ya maire ko raki papia ko I fo he foi hau ko ya ko maire en tau taha ho ko ata lolohea ko ke matuia po fe time na tok mapia Mataele kana e fi habito e o ta he mata no ani nai he talangi ke information ko ya
Yeah, I heard earlier that Maile was the first one that was bestowed the Melchizedek priesthood. Does anybody know anything any story about that?
No, I don't know about that one, but I know he was baptized when he was 11. So a year later, probably was the first one. I don't know.
I don't know where I got that information, but I'll try to go back do some more research. But I remembered hearing that Maile was the first to get bestowed the Melchizedek priesthood in Tonga.
Na papia mai he tahava he tahiva taha.
Koia ko
That's why
taha
you
ya
know.
maile.
Yeah, that's why Inoke told me. First one ko mai he tahiva taha.
E niwa.
Yo.
Tera ke ko Miss Bina.
Yo.
Na fai kau. Ai kui fai kau ko na pe kai.
Ikai.
Kai. Okay.
Ko hingo whapara ki ko hai moan ngā hingoa. Hange ka te ako sana ko misi se misi.
Misi se misi? Okay.
Yeah, and I found, but I know how they refer to Kakai time ko but this is 1930s and 30s. Yeah.
Of what?
Okay.
Of what? A missy what?
Missy Wissy.
Talk to me, Emma.
Missy.
Talk to me.
Mute yourself.
Yeah.
Mute yourself.
Look how I'm going to keep it. Ki sore ki tahi wa no fitu. Panai tangata ik na u au ke te pare ha ko ko ku mai ko ke tu a hai sana o pe mai ka ko ke la lo he po pe ko mo puna lo he o mai sana fa fu ya ta mai ya ko fe fine na ni hanga tau ki mau tolu ki mau ke tonga. That's all he said. But I'm like, I don't know for you then. That's the last time I saw him. So I don't know if he was an angel or he was a real being. But then he asked me outside the temple, okay, la lolo here, tang iyo ko iwa ya, tamay. Ko yan na si tao mo to mo fa ka tonga. That's the last time I saw him. So you know that I knew somebody that knew grandma.
Did you ask him who his name was?
I think he told me, but I forgot. He told me.
Angel.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's my experience with people that know great grandma. It's just like Louisa and taking care of missionaries in Hawaii.
Ki ta noa bene taha te o wahe atu whekau mololo hea. Na tala noa mai pila tō tāu koe mau me he tohi noa taha kau whai whekau. Ko Miss Siri koe pe ko hai. Koe pe he whai whekau.
Atu.
Wow.
Speak in English so that the others can understand.
Okay.
The kids, please.
They need to learn Tongan.
You have the same attitude as how. My gosh.
Ako wala hale fa palangi.
Tio mo ko mo se sta off ka tonga beta ko.
Go ahead.
Pila Totau told me that in one of the journals of one of the, I think it was Miss Seeley, that's the name. He wrote in this particular day that he came because Lolohea and Musie, I think Matelaus, yeah. They were the one always, the two ladies that always do, cooking and washings and stuff for the missionaries. And they said that in the journal, he said that the missionary wrote that they came and Lolohea, told them to bring their clothes to be washed. And when they went and took the clothes over there, she was sitting and then they were on their way to Nuku'alofa. And he wrote on his journal, he said how he was very sad. And he loved this lady so much because that very day was the day that Mataele and Pauline got married in town. and he wrote, and then Mate offer, how he loved Lolohea and the faith, how faithful she was, but she knows that her heart is broken because her husband is married to someone else. When Pila told me the story, I could just feel how grandma felt. And he also wrote that he didn't go to church for a few months, but they know that she will be okay. I just wanted to share that with you because it was a very touching story to me personally, to feel how grandma must have felt that day.
Emma, please, tok mai mua mea ke sa si me mate.
Every time I bought my testimony, I'm so grateful for her courage, for her persistence, like Niwa said. I think all of us are blessed because of her. And Grandpa too. I just wanted to share that story with you that Pila shared with me. I think there's many more stories, but this one in particular was very touching.
Thanks for sharing, Auntie. Any more questions or information?
Ke ki lave atu ki mo ui koe alolohea. Hangete au na nofo alolohea ya tu avavau. Pe whakaosiasen mo ina e loto ke hau pia nofo mo I noke. Na mau nofo mo lolo na trange ko ki whare koe na mau nofo I ko ki whare koloa pe luisa mo uriti na kai whakaloki. Na e loto pe alolohea ke hau ke nofo mo I noke o au pe ke nesi malolo. Ko lolo hea he taimina malolo ai na mau nofo. Na hange angelo honest. Hine hina foi ulu tea loloa o si malolo pe na kunofo mololo hea for few years. Na ku lau tohi ki ai na whakause ose mo ui alolo hea na nofo ya inoke na malolo alolo hea around 72 70 around that year. Fitu ua ko apu fitana malolo alolo hea. Kana kai ke te ilo pe he taimu matu o tu ai kai ni ihu kunau I te ita. She was so nice. Ko hape ni ki mea nai fia mao he na mau nofo pe ki whare na loki pe e taha. A lolo na loto pe ke hau pe o nofo ya inoko o pe ke sia ne malolo. Ko iku anga e mo ui a lolo hea. He na mau nofo.
Ia na noho alohea mo la mo se na nofo I mai taha. Ko ngapo matoko na mai taha na ia ki whare inoke ai mo tufui. Na nofo ai mo whahauka mo se mo mea. Api hoko mai ka pia uruisa mo uriti. Kana e nofo na raki na mahana e poke alohea pe na ilatai. Na nofo ilatai for a little while. Pe hau ki api. Pe alu o nofo ya inoke o nofo o a peke ni mana. Malolo pe alohea I marita.
Sharing. Anyone else?
Thank you for sharing.
Oh, someone's ringing. Uncle Fletty, did you have a question? Your hand is raised on the thing. I don't know if that was an accident.
Thank you, Emma.
Your hand is raised, but you're muted, Uncle Fletty. Oh, what is that sound? Okay, I guess he doesn't have anything.
It's Donna here. Can you hear me?
Oh, hi, Donna. You can, but we can't see you. Where's your face?
I know my camera can't come on right now, but I met I met Lolo here. My paternal grandfather took me. He used to go and visit Inoke. So Inoke, I didn't know at the time that Inoke was my great grandfather's brother. It wasn't until I moved to Hawaii that I found out Lolo Hair was actually Lolo's mom. But I met them early on when my grandfather used to take me there. I remember her with the little round glasses, a small lady. And I remember being afraid of Inoke because he's not only was he blind, but he had a thunderous voice. But my grandfather used to sit with him and talk about spiritual thing, of course. But you know, these are the people I met early on when I first before I came from Tonga to Hawaii. I left Tonga in '71, so Lolo Hair was still alive then. Maybe later on in the year that she passed away, but that's my memory of her. And then I connected the dots after I grew up.
Thanks for sharing that. That's wonderful. Anyone else?
Did you have any more stories about Lolo Hair, my mom, Eleanor?
Eleanor.
Yeah? Do you have any more stories?
Hair used to live.
Oh, Uncle Dulu.
Yeah, Lolo Hair used to live with us in Po'ui. We were very young. And I remember Andy Carlo knows Lolo Hair lived with Eleanor at the front room. Yeah, and when we grow up, Patriarch Manning, my brother Patriarch Mataele, and I was Grandma and Grandma, Me and Lolo. One of the crankies, we were very young to be in Fa'ui. But I never forget at Lolo Hair lived there with Eleanor at the front room to Hifo side. And that's how, and I think we all moved, migrated here to America. And then Lolo Hair moved to town to her grandchildren, and then shift around and end up in go back to Inoke and them.
Yeah.
Everybody moved here to America.
Okay.
But
go ahead, Uncle. Go ahead, Uncle. Sorry, finish.
One other thing about Mataele's grandmother married Fulivai. That's one of the reasons why Mataele sent Lolo Hair to go to invite the missionaries to come to Tonga, because he wants his children to learn English. And not only that, by relatively, his grandmother's sister married Fulivai, and Fulivai was his cousin. That's why it was kind of easy for him to send his wife to go to ask for the missionaries to come to start the school in Tonga. But I think it was I forgot Ilasan Tupouniua's mom married Vahai.
Vika Mafileo.
Vika
Mafileo and Ariria Funaki were sisters. Ariria Funaki, Fulivai's grandmother.
Yes, and Ariria was Maafu's grandma at Maafu in Iwaini. Mariko and Fulivai's wife at the time. They're all sisters, and the brother was Namoa. That's why Fotofili and them get the number.
Namoa is their father. Namoa is Bika Mafileo and Ariria Funaki's father. Kana Maria Ariria Funaki mo kuye na Fulivai Ariria Funaki. So that's how they related. Alilia Funaki and Vika Mafleo Tamaitaha Peki
A sister.
The Tamaitaka Namoa.
Io alilia mafileo per mo.
Vika.
Vika Mafleo and Alilia Funaki.
Yeah.
2 different fathers.
Kona Tamaya Namoa.
Tamaitaka Namoa.
Mari mea vika mafileo ki fou
Kia Maria Vika Mafleo ke Bahai, Maria Alilia Funaki kia
Pulivai.
Ia.
Kia maafu.
Ikai. Ko Alilia Kehe Hinga ko Kiai. That was late, yeah. Maria Pamupulivai Kiai Bahai. O Paele Bahai Asio Filisi. I do Kiai Fulivai Taimini. Lere Fulivai Taimini.
Oh.
We might paguahi poke whakatau hingoa, so you can be that okulava peo peto oake he whakahingo, he whakatau hingoa. So I know which one you're talking about, he maafu lai ne keheia.
Ko fuli vai iki, ho no tu fe fine lahi eni ko veisinia mo la pau, whakahingoa ke haku uhiki.
Ia, o Maria ko e ta lai ne e taha lai ne me tungi.
Ko lai ne ni ko ni o fuli vai, o hawai ko ni a fuli vai. Ke tampa na e whakanofu ai a fuli vai ko ia. E tūtuni mai ma kui salote, o kui wawa o a toti, o toti e kai fono ia fuli vai iki. E kai fono ko ia fuli vai iki he taimi ko ia. Na kui wawa wai, o alma pe i ta anea he toko e whae, o taramai e toti ka au e ta anō koeni. O ia nai pe kawange me i tonga, i kai fono koe ia fuli vai iki. E taimi koe nai whakanofu ai.
Whakanofu ai, iyo.
Iyo.
Ia ko inga ko nao mai mea palu babau. Ko hinga ko hingoa ia te isa palu babau.
Oia.
Palu babau ko ia ko tu e pine ia fatu. Lai ne e po a hau mo tungi. So that's a different line.
Okay.
Ai ko ki hu atu. Ko hinga ko na sihanga ku salat ko ke mea ke tunga ko na ko toti ko tupunga pe ko hinga ko Mataele. Ko ne fai a veisinia.
Ikai ko ia.
O ia. When I kai fono ai.
Ikai ko ia ko fae a Mataele.
O ia.
Ai ne ko ia.
Hey, I have something maybe you guys all know, but speaking of Mataele, I'm sorry, Tupouniua, we're probably going off the subject.
Doesn't matter. We're family.
I know, but yeah, that's true. Now, my question, only because my name, and I know that this is from what I get, is Grandpa Lolo named me, and I don't know why he would name me after Grandma May's side. So my full name is Tangiki Moana Avesinia, and it's basically because of what happened and how Mataele passed away. So does anybody know what?
Okay. You know Veisinia, ko ofefine lahia ko William Filipe. Ko pe amore leva William Filipe
Can you do it in English?
Oh, you know William Filipe, that's Alice Tiweti's oldest son. And his daughter is Veisinia, just like Tulu's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was lost at sea, and that's what the name is, Tangi Moana, meaning the daughter of William Filipe. Tangi Moana a Veisinia, Tet Veisinia. He's mourned his father because he was out in the ocean. He was lost. Nobody knew what happened to the ship. He was the engineer in that boat.
Mm-hmm. So is that there's a two different Veisinias we're talking about?
Yeah, the Veisinia your name after is the Veisinia for William Filipe's oldest daughter. Because her father, William Filipe, Alice's oldest son, what more they have I don't know, Hifofu or some other boat, he got lost at sea. And that's, at that time you were born. What year were you born?
1960.
Yeah, he was lost at sea about that time.
Still young?
Wow, and
I'm just
Tangi, there's a
20. I'm only 21, but I'll just say 1960.
You look amazing for 21, Auntie.
Tangi,
Thank
there's
you.
a beautiful
That's why
song.
you're named after that. The fact that he missed family, but everybody, the whole country was mourning because a lot of people, not only William Felipe, but a lot of people in I don't know whether was lost at sea, and they were nobody ever found out what happened to them. But his oldest daughter is facing here.
So what I got was the story of
Tangi, there's a beautiful.
I think Tangi is trying to I think ko tahine ko ya ko fahingo pe mo ya kia vesinia moala pau.
Exactly.
I think that's what Tangi was trying to. So that vesinia moala pau if I echo a Matealona is the daughter of Furivai. I mean like ne mai me Furivai Pampalwabau. So when my dad was sick in Hawaii, he was always saying Desa ke Fahuai. And Desa thought ko ne whakakata. I just told Desa a month ago, do you know Desa, my dad was not joking. O ko ni nga pera na ni ilo po na family, he ku ke ha ko me palwa ka ha uia me afatu. Ko palwa ko tu me file afatu. Tangata fatu. So my dad was not joking. He was serious. And and Desa just loved the story, you know. I mean, I just told her a month ago. Just so you guys know.
No, Desa want anything to do with her Konga Hawaii, so she
So that's yeah. I was just always wondering because now I'm hearing this person Vesinia, but I've always heard that other person Vesinia. So I'm just a little, but I think Niwa, I think I like your version better because I'm younger, so that had to have taken place at that time.
Right.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, and I knew why they were named. That's why I think because I knew that's why you were named after that.
Thank you very much. That makes sense. So maybe I should pull rank now. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I wanted to tell you there's a beautiful song that was made for that, whatever happened to the Lost at Sea. Yeah. I'll look for it and I'll send you the link. That should be your song.
Good.
Yeah.
I love it because I always tell people my name's very sacred. That's why no one's named after Tangi Kimoana. Because there's like 100 Kalos, 100 Maos and Desas and Holas. So mine's pretty sacred. So I guess I'll just keep mine.
Tangi, I thought you were named after Mataele's daughter. I mean, no. Is that Mataele's? No. Tangi kon fae ko Netane.
No.
I mean,
no.
I always thought that you were named after that Tangi. I got it.
Please, we're all brothers and sisters in here. Auntie Tesa will tell you another name that she used to call me, and she said that was the name, and I was like, "That's an ugly name. Let's not go to that Tangi." But it was a royal name, and I was like, let's not do that one. But Auntie Tesa calls me that when I was younger, but that one we don't want to go there.
I have a question, Niwa.
Okay.
Now, my mom told me that I was born in Fo'ui, and Mataele named me. The name is Tuipulotu Langi Tua Te Au. I never hear that name in our family.
Oh, that's go how may I allow Fitong Kakao?
But why he changed my name? Na how go mami ki fare mahaki pa tolo mai e motua ko brother in his her mom's side or ask me ke ui ki hono hingoa nei kai mari. But that's the name I got in Mataele. My mom told me Tuipulotu Langi Tua Te Au. My mom scared ke to ui hataha hingoa he ukai ke ilo. You know, sometimes you name some people ko hingoa fa ngata pe maha ke. My mom believed that way. That's why she never name somebody hingoa. But my name, but real name na fa hingoa Mataele ko Tuipulotu Langi Tua Te Au. Never hear that name in our family.
Hau mea e bahai. He
Oh.
laina o ngā ko huia hau mea hingoa lau whitong kakau. Ko hingoa ni ko tima se taimini. Mo lau whitonga ko na mautolu lau whitong kakau mo ia. So that's from the Bahai side.
Oh. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Dad, tell us more about your name or where you got your name from.
Who? Me?
You.
Oh, Grandma Manu named me. But I need to have some, I think Ala Tenalpa's son told me that it was Urukalala's son named Tupouniua.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's what Ala told me.
Hau mea ia a beisinia moala a paeko a matelo na te hau mo ia mea. That's how. Hau ia mea Tupouniua.
Yeah.
You know, I when Auntie Carla was talking, you know, about the past and stuff, and I didn't even really thought about it, but you know, our parents named me after the ship that brought Auntie Carla to Hawaii. So did you have any recollection of how they came up with that name or?
Yeah. Okay. The first name, okay, is Grandpa Lolo's. It's a relative or something. SA, he was a rugby player, real good rugby player. And then he just came to the hospital and he just came and talked to my parents and to name you after him, SA. That's his first name. But Oleoni is the boat that Anticalo came, I guess, to Hawaii.
Yeah, which is the Oriana, but yeah, the English version is Oriana, but the Tongan version is Oleoni.
It's called Orion, yeah.
Yeah, but part of my name also is Tuitupo. You know, so
that part. Where?
Yeah.
It's in the birth certificate?
Yeah, that's what I remember when I first got here. It's Ese Orioni Tuitupo Matai. That was I've always had known that, but never really. Not. I'm sorry, Tuipulotu. Not Tuitupo, Tuipulotu. So I never knew where that came from, but
the only Tuipulotu I know, as far as your mom is concerned, your mom's uncle is named Tuipulotu, and he's close to mom. That may be why they inserted it in there. That's from my Eke side, some Kolowai people.
I'm going to go ahead. Does anyone have any other questions? And then I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording if anyone doesn't have any questions.
Yeah, I have one. That can you talk about, like, you and Auntie Desa have a very fun relationship. It's not like nephew and auntie. It's more like almost like a sibling, kind of teasing all the time. Can you talk a little bit more about that and what it was like to live with her growing up?
Well, the thing that started our friendship, quote unquote, is the fact that she did not like me eating in the dining room and she eat at the kitchen. That's what started the whole thing. And you know, that's a real reason why, because it made me like I'm higher class. You know, hey, she liked this class thing, you know, whole achy and all that kind. She liked that stuff. That's why she said, I'm not gonna lose weight because I will lose my nobility. That's what she said. I didn't say that, she said that, you know. But that's our relationship. We grew up in Fou'i, and me and Mannering and Viola and Eleanor, of course, we grew up over there. And, you know, she knows. And Maya even told her straight to her, hey, she even don't like that, the fact that Grandma May told her that. That's the legacy Grandma May gave to her. So she will know.
I wanna hear
she,
David's side.
now she can't speak because I'm telling you the truth. That's what she always told me. Yeah, this is a very loving lady. But she is not a Mataele. She give away everything. That's the problem. Mataele don't give away everything. They buy and sell everything. That's the difference. That's our relationship, you know.
Yeah, she was just telling me the other day when you lived with her that she would tell you, why don't you go back to your parents, and Saya go back to his mom and leave me here because this is my mom and my dad and I don't know what you guys are doing here.
Sound like Micah and Deborah and Toti. Okay.
Any stories, stories you can share more about your Auntie Hola and you and her family?
Okay. One Sunday night, my dad, I guess, my dad, he doesn't like to work. He just like to do what his uncle and grandparents that he wanted to be in business. Of course, he didn't have any money to do business. So one Sunday, I guess we were kind of hungry. So he told me, go tell Hola we don't have any food. This is Sunday evening. So I went over there and told Hola, hey, my dad said we don't have anything to eat. Do you have anything to eat? So Hola had all the food in the house. She brought it with him. She carried it. You know how these people just send somebody to go take. No, she carried the whole bunch of food and walked from where they live to where we live to bring the food to his brother, to her brother. That's what I remember her. As soon as she knows somebody needs help, she will help. Especially she and dad were very close. Just like you guys. You and Hola close, and Isi and Boy are close. That's how Hola was. Hola was very close to his brothers and sisters.
So not very close.
That's what I remember her, about how much love she has for her brother, my dad.
I got a story about when I was in Tonga. And even though I didn't meet Hola, but Dad had ordered a lot of lumber, and he was going to build some stuff. So the container came, and all the lumber was stored under the house, and Dad was going to use that to build some stuff. And slowly but surely, Inoke and Suakai would come. And every time they would come, they would leave with a piece of lumber. And next thing you know, after a while, it all disappeared. I said, hey, Dad, what happened to our lumber? He just laughed, ha, 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 ha. But I know that later on, my mom told me that's the love that your father had for his sister. Where Sokai and Inoki just came and took all the lumber to use it for their stuff, and he didn't mind.
Dad, can you talk about why do you think there's so many people who named their daughters and their nieces after Auntie Hola? Why do you think that was? What kind of impact did she have on other people?
Because she's a very loving person. Even Hameti has a daughter named Hola after she passed away. And Kawasi have a daughter named Hola. Then we have a daughter. And Moana has a daughter. Almost everyone, because she was a very loving woman, very Christ-like. That's the word I describe Grandma. I mean, Auntie. She's very Christ-like.
What did she look like? Can you describe her?
There's a picture of her, Hola. She's very pretty. She's very pretty. She's
Was she
prettier
tall,
than.
short?
Let me put it this way: she's prettier than Tessa.
How about Makalapua? She's beautiful.
Of course, beautiful, very pretty. Yeah.
Uncle.
Yeah.
Uncle, this is Alai. Maloele.
Congratulations.
Oh, he tau au sia aho ni Maalo mua peteria ke si congratulate mai.
Malo la Maria Alai.
Auntie, ko kautama ko ia una no fotonga. Motolo. Uncle, I got a quick question. So you're saying my grandmother was a beautiful woman?
Yes, she is. Very beautiful. I'll tell you the beautiful woman in my life. Hola, Melitupo, Alisi, and Alice, and Tovavao. Those are the beautiful women I know in my life. I grew up not only beautiful as a person, but beautiful
Inside and out, huh?
yeah. Toti is very beautiful. Yeah. Those women, I grew up with them, they are very beautiful women. Not just because, they're physically, but because of who they are inside and outside.
So how did my grandfather get such a beautiful woman like that?
Let me put it this way, he was lucky.
Thank you very much. I love the honesty, Patriarch.
Yeah, he was lucky, I tell you.
I just appreciate all the sharing of the stories. I'm sitting here listening.
Yeah, your grandma was Christ-like in everything.
And it's humbling to listen to all the aunties, uncles, and cousins, and just to sit here and be part of the church and hearing all of your great stories. I just don't know where I would be without the church and family, and how our growing up in Hawaii, it was just, I didn't think it was the same because we were always going to the Methodist church. And so where am I going with this story is just a blessing to know the fulfillment of the happiness of the gospel in Jesus Christ and how true it is. And I see the happiness that you all have, and I'm just blessed to know that I have that opportunity to lay it on my life because I'm a member of the church. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Alai.
Ofalahayat alai.
Love you, Alai.
Love you, Alai.
Love you, son.
Love you, Alai. Congratulations, Alai. He just got called to his bishopric. Sorry, I'm sharing that news, but
Nice.
Oh, that's great.
I think talking about Antihola, when we were here in America, one of the patriarch's, the wife's family, came home one day with a lot of pictures, a beautiful lady. And she said that the person she talked to gave her those pictures, and her name was Holalolo.
Holalolo.
Yes, and she happened to be a pen friend. She wrote from Makeke, and sent some of her pictures in those days. And I think the patriarch can tell you more about it, because we receive a lot of her pictures performing in Makeke, sending to her pen friend here in Utah, a Palangi lady.
Yeah.
And she was very young, in the 30s.
1936 and 1937. I have the pictures with me. I have it, Paul. So Alai and Hola's children, I can, hopefully I have time to make some pictures. You can see your grandma when she was young. And also Anna Levila, she was in that picture also. Some of the picture was in there with Hola. And Sita, she was in the pictures when they were in Makeke during that time. So they were told in the English class to write to people here in Utah, in Logan, and my sister-in-law happened to know the lady in Logan, and she asked her, "Do you know what these people?" And she said, "Oh, not sure because the name was, you know how it is in Tonga. It's Kawasi Lolo, Hola Lolo, everything Lolo, Tesa Lolo. The same thing with my wife. He was named after his dad. His dad's name is Norman Palaun, so they call her. It was something they did in Tonga. They named them after their father rather than their grandfather. That's how. And then she asked, it's a thing that's funny. She asked me, "Do you know who this lady is?" I said, "What's her name?" Hola Lolo. I said, "Oh, that's my auntie. Like, what do you have?" I have all these pictures from the lady that said they used to do pen pal with her. I said, "Oh my God." And then Hola used to send her pictures at that time of her when she was in Makeke, 1936 and 37. So I have pictures of her at that age. In other words, so she was about 13, 14 years old. So
I have a picture. I'm still looking for it. I have a picture of Hola and my wife's mother when they were still in Makeke.
Yeah, that's probably the one.
I'm trying to look for it and see if I can find it.
Yeah. Next time I have time, one of the Zoom we have, we'll have the pictures so you can see them. But it's in one of my folders that I have a picture. I told Mutobaga before I passed away, I have him. He keep asking me, can I have it? I said, no. I said, I will have to make copies so that all his children and sisters can have.
Can we post
told
it in the
them-
Mataele website?
Yeah, yeah. When I get him,
That
when I
way
get
we
him,
all
I'll
have
have
it.
it posted so you can see. Not
There's-
only that, but Anna Levila, that's Stella's daughter. She was in Makeke during that time.
I know someone, maybe Ani or somebody, has a picture of Hola getting married to the Palangi. She was beautiful.
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah,
it. and
I seen that picture.
Too.
Yeah, can we post that one? She's beautiful. It reminds, when I look at what's her
I
name?
posted it on the Mataele.
Yeah, posted it. She's beautiful. When I look at Metty's older daughter, she kind of like resembles Hola to me in that picture, but you know, little hair and them's mom.
Auntie, I thought you was gonna say that when you see me, you think of her.
We haven't
Good
seen
one,
you
Alai.
For a while.
Alai,
Alai, you look like your grandpa.
Alai,
Yes.
You
Auntie
look like
Carlo,
you look
Yeah,
like your
Auntie.
namesake.
Auntie, Alai, I didn't hear you what you say about your grandmother Hola. Why did you say that you don't know why he married your grandpa Motopuaka?
No, I just asked them how did they meet.
Do you know the story about that?
No.
I will. Do you want me to tell you?
Yes, please.
Hola and Makahakovalu, that is Tuita's younger brother. They were best of friends. And Makahakovalu and Tariai went in the war, that is Tutulu's wife, uncle or whatever, grandpa. They went at the war and they both died. But Makahakovalu was a boyfriend of Hola at the time. This is what my mother explained to me, everything. I asked questions. And she said, Motoabuaka was between Makahakovalu and Hola. They were not friends, they were between. While it's away, Motoabuaka will always tell Hola what Makahakovalu was saying and all those things. When Makahakovalu passed away, that's when Hola was brokenhearted. He was so sad. And of course, when Viliami was around that time in Tonga and saw Hola and approached Hola if she wanted to marry him, and Hola right away, yes, and Lolo was very surprised. Lolo questioned her so many times, do you really want to marry that man, the Palangi? And Hola said, yes, but he and Motopak have a plan. Because, what is his name? The one passed away, Makahakovalu passed away, and Motopuaka was just between them. So Hola kind of very close to Motopuaka at the time.
Moauri. It was a Moauri.
Moauri, yes, Moauri. So Motopuaka tell Hola, you and I cannot marry your father will kill both of us. Then I think Motopuaka understand how Lolo is. So Motopuaka tell Hola, you can marry the Palangi and go to New Zealand, then you come back and divorce him, then you and I will get married. But see, John Mannering, the son, told me, Auntie, now I understand why my mother didn't like New Zealand. I say, why? My father took her to a ranch very far away from Auckland. The father worked in Auckland for a whole week and left Hola at the ranch. So, but that is an excuse for Hola because she already have her plan. Hola wanted to come home and give birth, and boom, Motoapuaka and the Te'ekiu come and sing all the time at Paremahaki. Hola gave birth at the Palangi, the hospital. And then and Motoapuaka was a policeman, they have from Naulu's place, they come to take you and sing right across the house. And Siwa Kaho, he was always come on a truck to Fort New in Kolovai. Told Lolo, do you know Motobuaka is ever to Hola? And Lolo said, no, I don't know that. So when Motobuaka and them sing across the street, Lolo get out there and swear at them and tell them, we don't want to hear your voice. That is ugly voice. And we don't want, you know how my father is.
He doesn't care.
Yes. And then so that's why Hola always go and see Motobuaka, and they got married, and my father told her, get out. I don't want that Motobuaka. That is an ugly man. I don't want him. That's what his name is. Motobuaka. He's a puaka. Oh, you know how my father is. But you know, Hola end up with Motobuaka. They have beautiful children. They have beautiful grandchildren, and we all love all of them. And that's what Alai's come from. Alai's grandfather. And when Hola passed away, I was here. So I brought all of them, Motobuaka, and Motobuaka became a member of the church when he came here. He baptized. But he loved staying here. And so many women wanted Motobuaka, but Motobuaka said, I will never marry again. I don't want to compare any other woman to my beautiful wife, Hola. So, and he was single until he died, but he has few daughters, he has a few sons here, but never married anybody. So that is the story for you, Alai, to know what your grandmother did.
Thanks for sharing, Auntie Carla.
Thank you.
Alai, tell
Well,
them the names of your daughter, of your kids.
Oh, I have one Tesa and one Faitu.
Oh.
Auntie, they are so beautiful. They are beautiful, beautiful girls. And very smart too.
Thank you, Ed.
Well, you have to bring your children here sometime to Hawaii.
Thank you for money.
Alai.
What are you doing?
I will. I'll get them over. Let me go and rob the bank, okay, Auntie?
Why don't we all rob the bank?
Thank you for sharing those.
Alai.
Wow.
Alai.
Wow.
When Faitu passed away, Monu called me up because my daughter was just born at the time, and your Monu asked me to, she's so brokenhearted with Faitu passing away, to name Adma Tangiloto to my daughter's name, just because of her deep loss and how she felt about her Faitu passing away. So that's part of my daughter's name.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, Uncle. This is good stuff for me to learn. I just like to hide out in my area here and just, do my thing and take care of my family. But when my sister Luisa said, hey, we're doing this, I was happy that she was doing it, and I'm able to jump on and listen and learn to all these stories. And it's just not about my grandma, but also stories of great grandparents and great great grandparents, and it's humbling and it's beautiful, and as you all know, I'm just enjoying it and being very emotional, so forgive me, but thank you very much. Ofat kamotol.
Love you. Hey, and Louis, Faitu's son Louis was on here. He was asking me questions about Moses. He doesn't know a lot, but he's on here too. I'm not sure if he left the group yet, but he was on here earlier too. Louis Powell, Faitu's oldest son. Not the oldest son, but with
Louis. The one is coach at
Hi, Louis. I used to babysit you.
Yeah. He was on here too. I'm not sure if he's still here, but he was here tonight.
Yeah,
he loved
I
it.
wanted to know more.
Yeah.
Zoa's still on here.
Oh, nice. Good. This really helps the younger kids, like us.
Yes. That's good. That's what I'm worried about, your children and their children.
That's right. Those
To know
children.
each other as a family. Like my nieces and nephew and all the cousins, we all know each other and we love each other. But your children and their children, that is the one that I hope that we have a reunion for them so they get to know each other.
This is the weekly reunion. This is what this is.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. This is very. This is better than the reunion. I think this is much better than the reunion.
Reunion is just eat and sleep. Over here we can talk and
Yes.
we share.
This is very good. Luisa has a great idea. This is very, very good, and I love it.
Yeah.
Just
Auntie,
make everybody.
you know, you and Tupouniua have a relationship that's very close too. You might want to, maybe Niua could share some of that, because you two are like twins almost.
Well, Tupouniua came here, and Malini, those two was almost like my two sons. But there was a kind of disappointed, but it's okay. With his life, he was married to a Japanese lady, and I gave him a slap on his face, but it was okay. Came out and had two beautiful daughters, and then he married another beautiful that I love her so much, Anaise, very nice. So, but me, I always love to help somebody have a business. I always love to encourage them, go ahead with your business and do a good job. And that's me. And that's what I wanted. I wanted Tupouniua and Perenais to do very well. I want to help them, whatever I can do. Yeah, Tupouniua is like my own son. I'm so close to
I'll
him.
tell you the story about that. She introduced me to the general authority here in Utah. And she said, this is my son. It was a dinner for the general authority, apostle, 70s. And the guy said to her, Carlo, you were married before? Because they knew she wasn't married, she has no children. And said, I mean my nephew, but it's like my son. That's how close she told people about me. I don't think I deserve to be in the same thing with her, but just so you know, when I first got married, she cried and cried and cried. Sorry, Auntie.
I don't know about you guys, but I wanted to share something here about our aunties. If anybody else doesn't have any questions.
Your turn.
Wait, that one quick question. Can you tell the story about you getting a ticket and like Auntie Desa taking you to the DMV and stuff in Hawaii?
Oh yeah. Auntie Carlo is like my dad. I'm afraid of her when I was in Hawaii. So when I came to Hawaii, I went to buy stamp to mail stuff to Tonga, and that place right next to where George. So I parked my car. It's an old car, not the right way. So the police saw me and they said, "Did you drive their car?" And I said, "Yeah, I drove their car." And I wasn't driving, but the car was already parked. He gave me a ticket for trying for a license, even though I wasn't driving at the time. Anyway, so I came and told Tessa, "Hey, I have to go to court." That Tessa said, "Why?" Because I got a ticket for driving without the license. So I went and got my license before we went to court. And guess who went with me? I had to take somebody. So I told Tessa, don't tell Auntie Carlo because she'll get mad at me if I told her that I drove without license. So Tessa went with me and the judge said, what happened? I said, I have my license out there. And then he dismissed the case. So that's how it was with Tessa. Tessa will help anyone to get away with murder, I guess.
So you and Desa are frenemies.
We are partners in crime. Sometimes we commit crime, sometimes we do the right thing. So right now, I don't know what we're doing right now. Yeah, we have.
So nice to see you.
It's good to see you too, Carlo.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tangi.
I saw Mataele. Mataele.
Hi, Mataele. I see you.
Yeah, I saw his picture.
Love you guys.
Love
you, Auntie.
Mataele, I saw Follow at the beginning. Aleki,
Didn't
so
comb her hair. That's why she's not showing her face.
no, I saw Follow at the beginning.
Yeah, growing up, you know, I saw my friend in Sateki every night after we eat. They come to the food because May always leave food for them. They always come every night to look for food, and May always leave food because they know they always come late. Because otherwise, Loro asked them, "Damong how honey?" That's why they don't come all the time because you know they don't want to answer their question.
Uncle Aleki, what pictures were you showing on your phone?
Oh, that was that's when you ilo pa si siya Tupouniua pe kai time ko ya.
No, siesi. Now, my brother would say, "You're not siesi."
It was Tupouniua and it was Tupouniua in the younger days.
Let's see.
My wife went to see it. I don't know. She saw me.
Let me see the picture.
Don't do
Hey,
it.
hold on, let me look for it again.
Where's the picture? Aleki?
Oh,
Yeah.
On his phone, I think.
Oh.
I have to go through my phone again.
So yeah, so I just wanted to share something since my aunties are still here. You know, about the growing up with them. I don't you know the word mehikitanga. I never really realized that until I got much older, because our aunties made us feel like we were really special. And I know Carlos on here, and probably the rest of my siblings, probably even Mao and Tesa could attest to this, because they never treated us any different, so we didn't know any different. Like Auntie Carlo and Auntie Tesa, like growing up, we would always go to Auntie Toti's house, Tuipua and Tolipua and whatever the case. But we were always like, we only knew my dad's side most of our growing up years, but they never really treated us any different. We could talk to them a way that they would whakakata back. So we really never felt inferior. Do you know what I mean? So really, I mean, Auntie Tesa, she did my whole wedding. If you guys didn't know this, but she has been so generous from as far as I can remember, because my parents didn't want me to marry my husband, but I had to go through the whole alo talaga Tesa, alo talaga ito toti, that I'm getting married. I'm thinking, why, but as I went to do that, of course, my parents, especially my mother, she was like, no, we don't, I'm not doing anything. She was already upset. And so Auntie Tesa, really, she came over, she called my dad, told my dad, and all this. And I, to me, I'm just thinking, I don't think I deserve it because I'm marrying somebody that they don't like, but Auntie Tesa always made me feel special, that I deserve these things. But anyway, I just wanted to share with you, Auntie Carlo and Auntie Tesa, how much I appreciate everything you've done for me. And I've learned what a mehikitanga is and what a fahu is. And I've learned that really from being around you two and Auntie Toti. And I appreciate that, because today those things are done so wrong, and it's not a system of helping anymore. It's not that. And I appreciate that Auntie Tesa did my wedding. I'm proud to say my Mehigtanga did my wedding. So I'm not sure about yours, but mine did everything for me. They didn't come and take. They were the givers in our family. So Auntie Tesa and Auntie Carlo, I thank you for that, because I've learned so much from both of you, and Auntie Toti, because they would come over. I mean, even Mina and Lois, they're just wonderful. They treat us like we're all the same. Like when Niwa mentioned his relationship with Auntie Toti, with Auntie Tesa, it just brings me back to how we were treated as well. They don't talk to us a certain way. They treat us like they're children. You all treat us that way. which I really wish I would have met Auntie Hola. I'm pretty sure she would have been, even just the same or probably even more. She sounds like she was more like Grandma May.
Yeah.
But I love you both. I just wanted to say how much I love you both. You're still here, and I love hearing your voices.
They all like Grandma May. All of them like
Yes,
Grandma.
yes.
All of them like Grandma May.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought that up, Tangi. Every time me and Stanley and Lenny or Tuiha Teho, Merci, whenever we get together, the first thing Merci will start laughing because he will remind us that every single time we matolo hala I marketplace ko I mea o talo makalo afi mahin. Ko taime ko tata takai ko tering ame ko ya ona te fo mai hala ko ni.
Oh, and yeah,
And
you're
every
right.
single time, Auntie Carla also mentioned when we was in primary class, o amo Stanley ko pa ko tala mai pe hamea ko e tefto itui article of faith. Next week you guys have to learn it.
That's
when it
right.
comes Sunday, me and Stanley will be standing on the corner, 1 foot up in the corner.
Yeah, Auntie Carla was
Pau,
probably
Ian.
our Sunday school teacher. She was all of our Sunday school teachers.
Yeah, all the primary, yeah. It's so funny. Bessie will always laugh. We'll always laugh, and every single time he sees me, he just says, "Man, I just don't forget our past when we were growing up." Here's a picture of me and Bessie when we was young.
Oh,
who is that?
Hold on, let me
Bessie
pin
and
it.
me.
Let's pin it.
Go hi.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah, Tuiha Teho.
Yeah, I remember that one, Nikki. That's a
I
good
know
one.
Bessie always reminded me.
Bessie sent it to me. Tuiha Teho sent me the picture. He still
You
has
know,
it.
he always see me, he tell me, Auntie, remember when you pulled the ear of Aleki and Stanley and not mine?
I remember Grandma May always telling us to talk different to Veasii. You know, he was called Veasii back in the day. I always remember him Grandma May reminding us we need to talk different to him, and we're like, why? He's just another kid. But yeah,
I remember me and Stanley and Veasii was climbing on Diamond Head. Now show my middle because you know the area that we're walking on is very shallow. If we go anyway, we'll fall and die. So Grandma will stand underneath with the fuka from Toti's house, wave us down, trying to get us down. As soon as we get down, to my grandma with waka.
Those are funny days. Yeah, Waikiki boys.
And always at the park. There was no big place with our family. Always at Kapiolani Park.
I always send Vessi his bulldog days, his Kamuki bulldog days. He just laughed.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. He was a star, a football star in
Yeah. He was naturally buffed.
Yeah.
Hey, Auntie Carlo, do you have any funny stories of the Hawaiian hut and working with family?
Working with who?
Oh, I can tell you those stories.
Yeah, Tagi can tell you the story.
No, I just my version. Mina probably has a worser one. But Auntie Carlo, at one time I cut my hair short that it showed my bra strap. So Auntie Carlo made me wear a wig. So when I wore the wig, and of course Dad is the light man from the top. So every time I would go out, Auntie Carlo would always check, all our hair, our outfit, whatever. Soon as she sees my hair that it wasn't combed or wasn't washed, this is the wig now. She stands by the stage, and when we're going from the dressing room on stage, she stands there, she goes, "Thank you, she's flipping my hand." So I'm running out of the stage like this, going like this, because she has half of my hair in her fingers. Like, I told you to comb your hair. And when I get out on stage, I see my dad laughing from the top because he already knows I probably didn't do something that Auntie Carlo told me not to do. But Dad could even tell you stories. Sometimes I go out crying because Auntie Carlo's already telling me, "Suck it, and I'm thinking, just because I'm your niece doesn't mean you take it out on me. But I think I think, you know, she has taught me so much, like to perfect every little thing. So yeah, I've learned to comb my hair to make sure things are mild, because you go on stage, you know, that's your little 5 minutes of fame. So you might as well look good. But yeah, we have some really funny stories. Maybe Tutulu has even some more funnier ones.
Tangi, I don't know if
yeah.
you remember. I don't know if you remember, Tangi, when we had Auntie Carlo's party there at the Hawaiian Hut. And everybody, the people were drinking screwdriver, and it's got looks like orange juice. So everybody over there, members and non-members, everybody were drinking screwdriver.
You're right. Auntie Lolo, Auntie Suliana, and Auntie Sita were those three ladies. That was the funniest party. Yeah.
They thought it was orange juice atabe.
Yeah.
Hey, that reminds me of the story. You know, in those guys, when they come to Tonga, we always go Christmas to the hotel for their smoking sport, and we, you know, have a party. And we went there with Latu and them. And Latu would have a can of orange, but it's already mixed. And I think he went dancing, and Lolo came, and she drank it. And all of a sudden, Lolo would be start talking, and we thought she was sick. We had to take her to Latai. Because we wondered what happened. And Latu just stand around knowing what happened, that Lola was drunk because she was drinking his drink. Later, that what happened. Because Latu already knew what happened. So when they took her to Latai, that was so funny.
Yeah, those are funny things.
Guys.
I got a funny story about Auntie Carlo and at Hawaiian Hut. So, for some of you guys who used to dance Hawaiian Hut, you guys would know Oloketi.
Yes.
So we knew every Thursday Auntie Carlo went to the temple.
Uncle Tamafishi.
So we knew every Thursday Auntie Carlo went to the temple. That's the night we always goof around. That's the night we do whatever we like, you know. But little did we know, Auntie Carlo would sometimes stop in on a second show, you know, just to kind of peek in, stay a little while, see what's going on, and then leave. So we planned it out. We're going to do this, we'll make any kind on a stage. Little did we know, Auntie Carlo had some people from New Zealand, some Maori people, come to the second show. So she came just to sit in and talk story with them. Well, me and Loketi had planned out that we were going to do the Maori chant. I was the chief, so I'm doing the Maori chant in Tongan. So we come out, we do our stuff, we do the spear dance, everything else, and come to my party. Maria. So I'm going through my chant and everything, and I started going in Tongan. Malo mohau, and all this, everything was in Tongan. You know, it's just silence. I get off the stage, we're all in the back rolling, Auntie Carlo standing right there. Again. We got some big slaps. I think we're on a broom duty, sweeping the stage and the dressing rooms for about a month. Oh, but I will never forget. And everybody looked at me like, it's your fault. It goes, hey, what do you mean it was my fault? Because you didn't tell us Auntie was going to come back. Right? Nobody knew she was coming back. Every Thursday, she would go to the temple. But that's the night we knew to play around. Auntie Carlo was so embarrassed with her New Zealand friends. Oh, it's too funny.
Gotcha.
You guys are foul.
Yeah. How about the meat weigh, the weigh in with the meat scale?
Oh, we just barely threw that away yesterday.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah, she had the scale here.
The meat scale.
We weigh them every week.
Oh my goodness. I don't miss it one bit.
Weigh every week.
Yeah. Oh, it was funny days.
Good old days.
You know, Auntie Carlo, I like to, there's all these younger grandkids, and I always share with them how I feel so blessed and grateful because I was kind of born a little bit earlier that I was able to experience all these things that everyone is talking about. And I just sit here and reminisce and laugh and enjoy these conversations because, you know, I have, for example, Faitu's son, Inoke, that lives in Washington. He was like, oh, what about this person? What about that person? And for me to sit there and listen to him ask these questions made me realize how I need to be grateful because I was around when a lot of these things was happening. You know, I was one of, I don't know, maybe I was one of the older ones. You know, that's why some people say, you know, I could be part of the G3 and G2, you know, for the family reunions. But honestly, I'm so grateful because I sit around and I'm like seeing these younger generation cousins of mine, and they're like, wow, I hear these stories and hear that story, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. You guys don't even know a lot of these people. So thank you for all the great memories. And speaking of the Hawaiian hut, I remember just when Faitu used to live right across the street from the Hawaiian hut, I just go and climb up the stairs and go sit up there with Uncle Kawashi and you know, just hang out. And whenever I wanted food, I go get food, go back up there, sit down, eat, drink, all the soda. It's just amazing stories that you all are bringing. And I remember Malo trying to teach me how to do a fire knife. And I swear one day I'm gonna be a fire knife dancer at the Hawaiian hut. But you know, things happen differently. But this is some great stories. I'm sitting here laughing too because I feel blessed to be able to hear this and know I was there doing all these different experiences. And I'm just grateful that you aunties and uncles can forgive me because I know I was so bad back in the days.
When you're talking about it, I remember your little long hair.
Man, I was a bad kid. But you know what? The good thing is there is forgiveness. And I know you guys forgive me already. So thank you for Ofakamoto.
Oh, sweet.
Atu.
Wow.
When I baptized Furivai and the family into the church, you came. Was that you that came and spoke in the English ward one year when you came down here? Was that you?
I brought my testimony. They were barely got baptized. I brought my testimony. Yeah.
That's something I've never really thought about it until you brought it up. And it still stays in my mind. I evolved to repeat history. Mataele ba Furivai. Time na te papi maya ko te hawa ko Furivai ko ke siasi.
Yeah.
You know, we're all part of this, mission in life and how things are. And it's funny because I lived here with Furivai where I'm at, where my wife's home is where I'm still at. And also, you know, the grandfather was a big part with Mataele in helping about the church, and that's how the church grew in this area. But it seems like it evolves in these three families, Mataele, Furivai, and Mahuinga family. Because they're giving the land to the church for the temple. And so, you know, and I felt I really didn't think about it until when you spoke in Sacrament and kind of brought that up, and I said, wow, it's like repeating history again. The church, you know, Mataele and Furivai again.
Yeah.
So just something I just wanted to bring up.
Yeah, and my Skahema was so happy.
Happy, yeah, because
with him, because he didn't know. He said he didn't know that part of it, and you know, he was very grateful that I shared that with him today.
Yeah, it was it was a great experience. All these things happening and one day I think so na papi me fo ke faya fu divai e toti mo mea. And I know for be a luti ki a toti ma mo grandma me. And I famatala luti na pap taiso ia e toti mo me.
Okay.
Then she left Hawaii when she was young and went to America and came to New Zealand and met Furivai. Ko hinga u tau kainga me foki pe ia tui makano mo mea i ta fa ko ia luti mo mea. Fai ko Furivai. And so when the father came, always coming to the States, Furivai Motua, not this Furivai, the father, malanga ia he kalasi ko ko hinga na to lahi ko Furivai na si siasi. So when he came back to New Zealand, Luti didn't totally lost the you know her testimony in the gospel, and he was wanting to be baptized into the church, but Luti wouldn't let him. And so when Furivai, I remember vividly when we sat there with the mother in the living room, and he asked the mother, why didn't they baptize in the church? And so the mother started explaining because she didn't want him to baptize into the church because she didn't believe the church anymore, you know. And so Furivai was so disappointed that, you know, he cried and, you know, and he kind of, you know, was wishing that if they joined then, you know, they would all be in the church and they would all be strong in the church. And that's something that we need to learn that don't keep the gospel from anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. Furivai, a lot of this Furivai family, when he met up with them and he told them, why didn't you guys share the gospel with me when we were together? Why didn't you guys share the gospel with me? You know, and I think it's one other thing is because Mahana Nashio Natoga awake, you know, in his standing as a noble. But that's one of the things that he kind of complained to the family is, why didn't you guys share the gospel with me when I came and lived with you guys many times in the States, and no one shared the gospel with them. And so it's something that, you know, we have to all learn is that always be a witness of the Lord Savior Jesus Christ and his true church upon this earth, whatever it is, wherever it is. And so, and we see it now. We have people in Hawaii coming into the church. And I think it's a blessing for us here in Tonga and all over that we have a chance to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's it. Malo bito.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aleki. Aleki, you're so handsome. You're just like your dad. Oh, you look all over, Uncle.
Kau tama hapaya, Grandma Manu.
Oh, missed all the uncles. Man.
Oh, another story before we go. I remember Tupouniua coming to LA, and me and Sip was over there in Hollywood. And pe mai Tupouniua. Tau turi ki malapuna ke tau avia ke ngaki alu ki Salt Lake. He didn't tell us that he was planning to go to Salt Lake first and then get back to LA to go to Tonga. And he didn't tell us that. And so me and Sipu, you know, the airport was north and we went south.
South.
and every single time Tupouniua said, when are we going to get to their airport? And Sipu would always say, oh, we're almost there. We were about 3 hours away from the airport. then Tupouniua goes like this, you guys just made me mess up my flight because I was supposed to be in Tonga at a certain time. Well, we ended up renting a car, driving to Tupouniua, rush him over to Las Vegas. It took us how many hours? It's supposed to be 8 hours drive. We took us about maybe 3 or 4 hours, got to the airport, put Niua into the plane so he can get back to Utah. But, you know, we had a good time. Anticalo and them came at that time. Whose funeral was that? That Anticalo came and we were together with Sipu, Tupouniua. Do you remember whose funeral it was that Auntie Carlo and them came to? Was it a funeral?
Yeah, there was a funeral, but I forgot who it was. Yeah, I remember this. Why it came. Yeah. I forgot whose funeral it was.
Well,
What
just
year
funny
was
memories.
that?
Just, 2004, 5, it's around there. New York? Or was it earlier? Later?
I wonder if it was Eleanor's.
No.
No, it was
Oh.
later.
Yeah. But we had a fun time. Just loyal king to Tupouniua. Sai pia ko ikaw na talahui ko. O sipu. I was just a driver.
There you go.
Cooperate with the client.
Okay. Anyone else? I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording. You guys can keep talking if you want. Let's go ahead and stop the. Oh wait, did I thought is Maloney still here? I thought Maloney had a question.
He was here. I saw Maloney.
Maloney, did you have a question?
Stepped out.
Okay. Uncle Philip, did you have a
Maloney's
question?
gone.
No, I
Maloney's
see
gone.
he's here, but I don't think he's.
Who's next week?
Next week
It's
is
Luisa Wata.
Luisa Wata.
Next
Oh,
week.
Luisa.
Yeah, and then Auntie Desa, and then Uncle Kawasi.
Maybe we could get Saya Mannering and Taele would be another one. Very interesting. Ani it was very knowledgeable too. I'd love to hear Ani's town girl version. Even Atu, those town girls know a lot about.
No, Inga
history.
asked me for April. I don't know what day in April. So I have
I left Tonga 1970. I don't know much.